Young man Jimmy Zorn out of Cal Poly Pomona with Theodis Brown, recently acquired from St. Louis, and Dan Dornick, and the receivers of veteran Sam McCullum and Steve Largent. We'll talk more about both of them as we go along. The offensive line, Essick, Bailey, Yarno, Newton, and August. First down from the 30-yard line of Seattle. And to give to Dornick straight ahead for a couple of yards, stopped on the right side by Mike Douglas, who has been the most outstanding defensive player for this ball club. Defensive line with 3 down linemen, Butler, Jones, and Casey Merrill, having beaten Ezra Johnson out, at least for now. Perhaps 4 of the best linebackers in the game as a tandem. Anderson, Wingo, Crumpy, and the outstanding Michael Douglas. And the defensive backs, Lee and McCoy at the corners, Johnny Gray and Maurice Harvey at the safeties. Ezra Johnson now in on second down, and let's call it 7 for Seattle. Largent in motion. Second back, Theodis Brown. First down across the 40 to the 42-yard line.
Sam, they've already started spreading the line, and they're getting holes in there. Theodis Brown cut back on that play and saw a wide open hole. But the offensive line has taken an extra 8 or 10 inches in between the lines. You can see the split there between the guard and the center. Here comes Theodis Brown, and look at that cutback. He's got a hole there and picks up the first down.
Well, if you were with us during our pregame show, that's exactly what David Rowe pointed out, the fact that this ball club, now having run so ineptly with the ball in the past, has split their offensive linemen to give them bigger gaps. Casey Merrill back in for Johnson at right end on first down. 42-yard line of Seattle. The lone setback is Dornick, and he gets the call across the 45, and that's about it. Stack up there by Rich Wingo, second year out of Alabama, the left side inside linebacker. So we'll give him a gain of 3. It'll be second down and 7.
Sam, when those linemen split out there, it takes your end so much farther. Your linebacker standing in the holes, he's got a lot more area that he's got to cover. And you're looking at arm tackles rather than straight-on tackles. And I'm surprised that Green Bay is not going to adjust to that, keep their linemen in tight.
Seattle, a team now that is running the ball more and enjoying it more. Second down and 7. They've yet to put the ball up. And as I speak, Zorn goes back to pass. Pump fake. They got him back in the 40. Down he goes. And the play's whistled dead. Rich Wingo, number 50, is the man who knocked Zorn down and knocked the ball out of his hands, but the play was whistled dead.
It certainly was. Whenever the quarterback is in the clutch of a defensive player, they call the ball dead, and obviously they felt that Zorn had stopped his motion. You can see him here. He's going back and there fumbles the ball. But Green Bay fans are alive today, aren't they, Sam?
Oh, they have a fan appreciation day going here, and everybody in the stadium an hour before the ball game just to display some enthusiasm, get themselves built up for the ball game. 6 defensive backs being employed by Green Bay. It is third down and 12. 3 wide receivers now for Seattle, and Zorn has to call timeout. He hasn't seen 6 defensive backs in the films, I'm sure, because normally in this situation, they bring in 4 down linemen and 5 defensive backs and keep 2 linebackers, but they change something on Jimmy. So Zorn will talk it over with Jack Patera, and while he does that, we'll take a break. Scoreless in Green Bay. We'll be back right after this. So after the unexpected timeout by Jim Zorn, just 3 minutes into this football game, the Seahawks now have third down and long, David, 12 yards.
When they come down and see 6 backs out there and you haven't practiced against it, it's a little hard to call a play.
So let's see how they counter it now. They go to 3 wide receivers. Paul Johns, number 85, joins McCullum and Largent. Of course, all the offensive plays for Seattle are sent down by Jerry Rome from the press box. Play action for Zorn. Throws it out here in the flat, and Brown could not hold on to the football. They try to screen to Theodis Brown. Mike Butler had good pressure on Zorn, but that was by design. They let him come in there to set up the screen, but it did not work, and Jeff West is on to punt.
Had he completed that screen, Sam, they were going down the sidelines a long way.
Mark Lee, number 22, in single safety for the Packers, back at his own 22-yard line. Jeff West, who was out of football all last year after losing his job in San Diego, signed as a free agent by Seattle, averaging 42 yards a punt. He beat out Thunderfoot Weaver. Good high spiral. Driving Lee back to his 10-yard line. And he will not be able to even get back to the 10 as he backtracks to the 6, and that's where he's dropped. Number 37, Eric Lane. Magnificent punt. 50 yards by Jeff West. And the Packers start from their own 7-yard line, and Whitehurst gets a nice hand, and the whole Packer offense, for that matter, from the fans here. Whitehurst, Harlan Huckleby, and Gary Ellis. Starting backfield for the Packers with Lofton and Jefferson. You know all about them. And their tight end, Paul Kaufman. Konkar, Goforth, McCarron, the most reliable offensive lineman, with Harris and Cook. And again, we're going to isolate today on Greg Cook and Jacob Green. JJ in motion. And to give us the lane, nothing doing there. Spins out of one tackle, still on his feet, but he ran right into the middle linebacker, Joe Norman, and they drove him back inside the 5. 4 outstanding young down linemen. Actually, only 3 of them are young, David. Green, Hardy, and Tui Asasopo, who's moved outside. The veteran Doug Sutherland is the defensive right tackle. Linebackers, Jackson, Norman, and Butler. And you talk about outstanding young people. Look at that secondary. Simpson, Easley, and Brown are all first-round draft choices. John Harris, a 7th rounder out of Arizona State. Double tight end. Ellis is a lone setback. Flag is down. Ellis gets the call to the 10, 15, and to the 18-yard line. But I believe this one will come back illegal procedure or offsides against Green Bay. Against Seattle, I beg your pardon, Jacob Green, I believe, and so the play will go. Let's take a look at our matchup here. We got
Well, this is 0-1, I guess you'd say here, as Jacob Green wanted to get off the ball right there, and he took an outside move. I guess you'd score that 1-0 for Cook.
Defense, offside on the play, refused. First down.
That was our referee, Chuck Heberling. The rest of the crew, Gordon Wells, the umpire, Ray Dodez, the head linesman, Dale Oram, the line judge, Al Jury, the back judge, Dwayne Gandy, the side judge, Charlie Musser, the field judge. Penalty refused, first down and 10. Jensen 33 and Huckleby 25 are behind Whitehurst. And a wide receiver screen to Lofton. Out there all by himself, but David Brown finally gets a block. Konkar got out there to block Brown out of the play. He was almost late getting to the scene, though, Dave.
He certainly was. That's a timing play, Sam. It's got to go right on time. As we watch Whitehurst here drop back, this is a fake screen to the left, to his right, and then screen back here. And Konkar has to come a long way to get this block. But how would you like to be this cornerback right here? No, and there's Konkar. Wow. He come in there and hit him.
If we were scoring Konkar, we'd give him one, wouldn't we, huh?
Especially for hustle.
He wiped out David Brown. Gain of 4 on the wide receiver screen to Lofton. Second down and 6. Gary Ellis back in there for Jensen. Ellis wears 31. Huckleby, the former Michigan star, 25. Of course, his team desperately misses Eddie Lee Ivory, who's been out and will be out the rest of the year. Screen for Ellis, and he couldn't hold on to the ball. So it goes as an incompleted pass. It'll bring around 3rd down and 6 now for the Packers.
3rd and 6 for the Packers, 24-yard line.
As you look at David Whitehurst. Now in his 5th year out of Furman. Had a couple of excellent years. 78 particularly. 79 was not a bad year for David. Then he sat out for 2 years as Dickey took over the helm of the Green Bay Packers. And this is Whitehurst's first start in almost 2 years. It's almost a 2-year anniversary. 3rd down and 6. He has not thrown the ball downfield yet. Ellis in motion. Good protection over the middle, and Huckleby was knocked down, intercepted by Harris. Back to the 25, the 20. 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Seattle. They may be looking for an interference call against Harlan Huckleby, who was the intended receiver, but I don't believe they'll get it. And John Harris now leads the AFC in interceptions with 6.
Right at the worst time, Harlan Huckleby fell down on this play. Fell down just as the ball was coming. But the time that he had to pass was very good. But you'll see him fall down right there at the most crucial time. And there's the interception, and I'll tell you, that can change a ball game in a hurry right there. John Harris with 6 interceptions now. Of course, he's leading the AFC.
Efren Herrera is on to try the extra point. We talked about his twisted knee, the placement, the ball is up, and a flag is down. A penalty marker is down.
Offside, defense on the extra point. The point is good. The 5 yards will be enforced on the kickoff.
So referee Chuck Heberling told you all. We'll be back with the kickoff here. The Seattle Seahawks. Phil Jennings just informed me that is the 5th touchdown that the Green Bay offense has given up this year. You can't win football games doing that, David.
Well, you certainly can, Sam. You know that. But that's only the 2nd touchdown that's been scored in the 1st period. So that, again, that's a highlight for them. But it's going to be tough right now.
Efren Herrera set to kick it off. Seattle leads it 7-0 following the 43-yard pass interception for a touchdown by John Harris. 1 yard deep in the end zone. 15, 20, shy of the 20. Lee goes down. And Green Bay will go to work from just shy of their own 20-yard line. 7-0 Seattle. 10:39 to play first quarter. A magnificent day in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The temperature about 60 degrees. A couple of 2-6 teams that need some confidence building desperately. These fans are relentless, aren't they?
Yeah, they certainly are. They want to see their team win. You know, it's a great place for tradition. Great place for tradition.
So Whitehurst brings them out. Let's spot the ball right at the 20-yard line with Huckleby and Ellis as setbacks. John Jefferson in motion, and the pitch is to Ellis. 20, 25, breaks into the secondary and almost a first down. Reaches the 29-yard line. Huckleby leading the way, and the tackle made by Kenny Easley, the #1 draft choice out of UCLA, and a dandy of a safety. He has yet to have an interception this year for Seattle, but he's played outstanding football, and he has jarred a few ball carriers during the course of the first half of this season.
An interesting sidelight, Sam, is that both their safeties have got an unbelievable number of tackles. They've got 43 or 44 tackles apiece, and that's quite a lot for a secondary already.
2nd down and 1. And the give this time is to Huckleby for the first down as he crosses the 30-yard line. So Green Bay with a first down at the 31. Doug Sutherland, the 12-year veteran out of Wisconsin Superior, is a man who made a stop. Now let's take a look at our matchup. Jacob Green and Greg Cook. What's his responsibility here on this play for Cook?
All he's trying to do is, Jacob Green is trying not to give the penetration to the offensive player. Actually, I would give that one to Cook because he turned, made Jacob Green go around him.
All right.
So it could be 1-1. I'm pretty fair out here.
You are immensely fair. We got a 1-1 score in our matchup of the day. Greg Cook against Jacob Green. Whitehurst, slight roll right. Good time to throw the ball. Throws it over the middle. He completes it to Ellis in the grasp of middle linebacker Joe Norman. A pickup of about 8 yards. It'll be 2nd down and short, and that's what Green Bay would love to set up. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Green Bay Packers and the National Football League is prohibited. All right, here's our scoreboard now on the matchup of the day as we chart these two.
Excuse me, that's 2 for
Greg Cook.
That's right, the offside penalty.
That's right, you gave that to Jacob Green. And to give to Ellis. Breaking a couple of tackles, very close to a first down at the 40-yard line. And they indicate a first down. Robert Hardy, in his 3rd year out of Jackson State, is the man who made the tackle. Easley is on top. But not before, I don't believe, the Packers got another first down.
Just a simple little handoff here, looking for the seam, and there he finds it. Almost had a face mask right there. That's just man-on-man football right there. We've got a man down on the field already.
There is an injured player right on the 40, and Whitehurst taking the opportunity now. I think it's Hardy, 75. Whitehurst coming over to talk to Bart Starr and Zeke Bratkowski on the sideline. So while they do that, let's take a commercial. Back in Green Bay, 7-0 Seahawks. Robert Hardy carried off the field by a couple of stalwarts and trainers, as you see, as he goes over to the bench and just hazarding a guess. David Rowe, what do you think?
I believe it was an ankle sprain because the way he was carried off the field holding his knee up. I believe it's just an ankle.
Mike White, number 70, to replace him. And they don't have a lot of depth there. Fred Anderson is also available for duty, but they've only got 6 defensive linemen. Whitehurst throwing it short, intended out in the flat for Harlan Huckleby. Keith Butler had the coverage, and again, let's go to our matchup of the day. Jacob Green against Greg Cook.
The matchup is an interesting thing because it really doesn't show how the day is going as much as it shows what's going on in those individual plays, and people have got to realize that, but that's a good matchup right there, and I guess we're getting, Greg Cook's getting a little early lead, 3-0.
Well, in fairness to Cook, it should be pointed out that Green was double blocked there. They had they kept their tight end Paul Kaufman in.
Well, they've got a great lot of respect for him.
2nd down and 10. Huckleby and Jensen to the setbacks. 7-0 Seattle. Quick pitch to Jensen. 45, 50, first down, and out of bounds to the far side. Whitehurst really let that one rip, and Keith Simpson in his 4th year out of Memphis State is the man who knocked him out. But I think the offense has been slow developing for the most part, and now they're taking advantage of some quick stuff.
If Green Bay wants to play today, and they have to play, they've got to give David Whitehurst some time, and that's what they're doing. They brought linebackers that time, which allowed him to go out of the backfield and get one-on-one with the secondary here, but they've got to give him time, and so far they've given him pretty good amount of time to pass the ball.
John Harris is the man who made the stop, not Simpson, so it's a first down Green Bay at the Seattle 48-yard line. Ellis and Jensen, the 2 big backs. Nope, they've only got one of them in there now. And the handoff straight ahead to Ellis. Got plenty of room, 40, 35, better put that ball away. And he does as he reaches the 28-yard line. Easley is the man who wrestled him down, but another Green Bay first down inside the Seattle 30-yard line.
Seattle so respects the pass rush. They so respect the pass rush of the Seattle Seahawks, the Green Bay does, that they've run in these draws to keep them off guard because they've got a great defensive line. Seattle's got a lot of sacks on that left side over there with Jacob Green and Hardy. So, like you say, he should have put that ball away because that's an unbelievable time to lose it right there when you're driving down the field.
Leading rusher on this ball club, Gary Ellis. Number 4, in fact, in NFC scoring with 36 points this year. Kaufman in motion, the tight end, first down at 10, Green Bay again. Mixing it up, Huckleby gets a screen on the near side, cuts it back, 25. Out of bounds to the 23, run out by middle linebacker Joe Norman. But a 5 or 6 yard gain on first down for the Packers, and they've got it in gear here, David.
They certainly do. One of the fastest things that'll take away the pass rush is these little dump screens to the backs out of the backfield and the draw play, because you become apprehensive that they're going to run on you all the time. And that's what I meant when I said that Green Bay has great respect for Seattle's defensive unit, because they're trying to keep them off guard with not the usual plays, not the running, grinding plays.
James Lofton goes wide to the left, and John Jefferson to the right. 2 setbacks again, Huckleby and Ellis behind David Whitehurst. 7-0 Seattle. Ellis on the pitch, cuts it up at the 20. And gets to the 19 and maybe a little shy of a first down. Manu Tuiasosopo is the man who made the stop. Let's check our scoreboard out of town. Look what Cincinnati's doing to Houston. 21-7. Kenny Anderson has thrown for 2 touchdowns. Pete Johnson has run for 1. Stabler has a TD pass for Houston. And the Jets leading the New York Giants 13-0. The battle of the Big Apple. Pat Leahy a couple of field goals. Richard Todd to Wesley Walker 39 yards for the other one. First down, Green Bay at the 19-yard line. There's a troubled man these days, Dave.
He certainly is. He's under an awful lot of pressure. Some of it part due, I guess you'd say, and some of it undue. He's had a lot of injuries. I was down talking earlier with some of their coaches, and they're admitting they've got injuries just like they had last year.
A couple of coaches in similar positions with one exception. Patera's got a brand new 5-year contract. Bart Starr does not. First down, the Packers knocking on touchdown door here, trailing 7-0. Whitehurst, plenty of time over the middle, inside the 10, first down and goal, Green Bay. James Lofton.
An interesting statistic about James Lofton is that this is his 55th start. So that's an awful lot for a wide receiver. It shows that he's very durable, but he really caught that ball in a lot of traffic that time, and Whitehurst delivered it on the mark.
First down and goal, Green Bay. James Lofton, number 3 in NFC in receptions. Had a big one last week against Detroit. His biggest ever, 75 yards. Got a man open, Kaufman. Touchdown, Green Bay. The rookie Kenny Easley, I believe. Watch Paul Kaufman. He'll slip out, be all alone.
Anytime you bring that many people on a rush, you're going to have man-on-man coverage, and that's a tough coverage to be. And as you said, he did beat Kenny Easley for the touchdown.
Netterood's extra point attempt is up, and it's perfect. And we have a tie football game in Green Bay with 5:57 to go first quarter. The Packers with a well-conceived drive. 80 yards back in Green Bay following the Packer touchdown. Netterood set to kick it deep. And this is a short one. Fielded by Paul Johns at the 15-yard line. Comes to the near side, 20. And down he goes as he crosses 25. Mark Murphy is the man who made the stop, number 37. So Seattle, with a pretty good field position, starts at its own 26-yard line.
Well, the last drive was an 11-play drive for 80 yards. And look at that time, 4 minutes and 50 seconds. That'll help any defensive out. And there's a 7-yard pass, of course, to Kaufman, the one-on-one play against Easley for the touchdown. But they're back in this ball game, and that's what they needed to keep that momentum.
Seattle suffered a big loss during that drive. A sprained ankle is our report on Robert Hardy. No indication as to whether he'll return to the game or not. But it's obvious they missed him in that drive. So let's see if Seattle can answer with one of their own. Largent in motion. Deep in the eye, Theodis Brown gets about 4 to the 30. Stopped there by Rich Wingo, number 50. First man to make contact. 2nd down and 6 now for Seattle.
Well, they're coming out and they're running the ball. They felt last week that they finally ran the ball 50 times last week, I believe it was, and they feel that they've got to run the ball 30 or 40 times. And when they're coming up against 2nd down and 5 or 6 or 7, that they still have to run the ball, Sam.
Well, I think probably the greatest indication of the problem Seattle has had this year, David, is the fact that Zorn averages 34 passes a game. And it's just been proven time and again you can't throw the ball that often without something to complement it. And they had no ground game before Brown. First down and more. Across the 35 to the 37-yard line. Knocked down on the far side by Johnny Gray, the 7-year veteran out of Cal State Fullerton. But not before Brown got a first down. Let's check some more scores now around the NFL. Halftime. Miami leading Baltimore 14-10. David Woodley has run for one and passed for another. And the Buffalo Bills lead the Cleveland Browns 13-3. Matt Barr has just kicked the field goal for the Browns. Don Crickey and John Brody up in Buffalo. I hope it's nice there as it is here today, David. Our colleagues deserve nice weather. First down and 10 for Seattle. Largent in motion. Pressure from behind. And he got it away just in time, but it's incomplete. John Sawyer was the intended receiver, and Mike Douglas, the 4th-year linebacker out of San Diego State, was coming and coming quick.
What a player this Mike Douglas has been. He's got 4.5 sacks already. Zorn knows he's right there. He knows he has to get rid of the ball. But boy, he's got speed. He's already got 4.5 sacks. He's got 2 interceptions, and he certainly has had a whale of a year. That's a real football player there, Sam.
John Meyer, the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, says he wouldn't trade his 4 linebackers for any 4 in the league, David. And I can understand why. 2nd down and 10. Dornick gets the call. There's nothing there as he reaches the 40-yard line. See who gets off the bottom of the pile. Wingo and Jones, 50 and 63 respectively. It'll be 3rd down and long, about 8 yards now for Seattle. And Green Bay goes to their nickel defense, bringing 2 inside linebackers out of the game, Wingo and George Cumbie. And let's see if they go to that 6th defensive back. Seattle counters with 3 wide receivers, McCollum, Largent, and Raven. 4 down linemen. Ezra Johnson, Merrill, Jones, and Butler try to put some heat on Jimmy Zorn. He's got time. Has a man open, but shy of the first down. Largent on a crossing pattern. I don't believe he has enough. Douglas with an outstanding defensive play to prevent him. First down yardage.
Steve Largent's one of the great players in this league. He's got year after year, he's led this team with receptions, and you can see right here, his first responsibility is get enough yards. He gets kicked right there, a little bit hit, so it obviously knocks him off, but he doesn't get the first down yardage, and that's a serious mistake.
Mark Lee back in single safety. Actually, 2 of them. Lee is back there along with Johnny Gray. Lee is the deep man at about the 15. Gray at the 22. Awaiting Jeff West's punt. And he gets off a high, short one this time. And Lee will have a run back from the 17. Nothing doing. Reached the 24-yard line and was blasted right there. Injured player down in midfield, and we'll have to check on this. But it's a 7-7 football game. An announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. Injured player for Seattle was Rodell Thomas, who is now up and walking off the field under his own power. So he appears to be all right, and the Packers in a 7-7 football game have the ball just shy of their own 25-yard line. And if they can duplicate the drive of last time, Dave, that'll be a tremendous confidence factor for David Whitehurst.
Certainly will. They've had a change in defensive line again. Mike White is staying in the game, so evidently Hardy's ankle injury is a little more severe.
And a change offensively for Green Bay. Turdell Middleton, 5th year out of Memphis State now in the backfield along with Gary Ellis. Middleton scored 4 touchdowns the last time these two teams played. But nothing doing there as he gets a yard, maybe 2, to the 26. And again, let's go back to our matchup of the day. Greg Cook, offensive right tackle of Green Bay. Jacob Green of Seattle.
I watched this play as we watched it over. Green was trying to get across the play, so in fairness to him, I'm just going to call that a draw, even though that happened, because the play was away from him and he was trying to get across. I guess you should give it to Cook, but I'm going to go with a draw.
You got too good a heart. You just didn't want this to be a runaway, did you? So it's 3-0 Cook with 1 tie. 2nd down and 7. The pitch to Ellis. Breaks 1 tackle, still on his feet, but help comes to the 27-yard line. Simpson made the first contact, and Kenny Easley came to put him away. So it'll be 3rd down and about 7 now for Green Bay as they tried that little flare pass out to Gary Ellis.
In fairness to Jacob Green, I guarantee you he'll get his share today. There's no doubt about it. Cook might get off to a good lead, but Jacob Green is too good a player.
Only coach Seattle has had, Jack Patera, 31-53-0 in the 5 previous years that he's been in Seattle, including this season. 3rd down and 7. 3 receivers, Lofton, Jefferson, and Gary Lewis, number 81, and Ellis is a lone setback. Whitehurst with time to throw, intercepted. John Harris again, 30. 25, still on his feet to the 20. Fumbles the ball. Green Bay, I believe, has it back. My, oh my. Funnies this week, won't it?
It certainly will. John Harris, as we watched the first part of this play, the pocket of Green Bay is collapsing right there, and he's got to pull the ball down, but that's a perfect pass right to John Harris. But in Harris's effort to get through here, and he breaks a couple tackles, I'll tell you, he runs the ball really well here. Look at that tackle break right there, cuts back, and fumbles the ball, of course, back, so at least they got the ball back for Green Bay. There's the fumble. An alert quarterback right here.
I was going to say, guess who got it back? The man who gave it up.
Yeah.
David Whitehurst. Leonis Harris is coming off the field. He was injured on the last play. The 4-year veteran out of Arkansas, offensive right guard for the Packers, replaced by Arlen Thompson, a 2nd-year man out of Baylor. So I guess we could say much to do about nothing, although it certainly was fun watching it, wasn't it?
It certainly was.
Green Bay losing some yardage on it.
I want you to talk nice about my friend Doug Sutherland. You called him old in our pregame now. He came in when I played.
Well, I'm sure his family took exception to that remark out in Seattle, too.
Yeah.
Well,
he's from Wisconsin.
Let me apologize to all of them. 1st down and 10. The only good thing that happened to the Packers there, in addition to recovering the ball, was they recycled the down box. Turdell Middleton gets maybe a yard, no more than that, as he reaches the 12. And again, we go back to our matchup of the day, Greg Cook against Jacob Green. See if Jacob can win one here, David.
I believe he does right there. His job right there is to hold the man in the hole, control him, which is what he did, and come back to the play. He played that one very well.
Oh, yeah.
Very well. So he got his score right there.
All right, so we don't have a shutout anymore.
No, we certainly don't.
Leonis Harris came right back into the lineup for Green Bay. He's apparently all right. 2nd down and 9, Packers. They send Kaufman in motion and give it to Ellis. Seattle strung it out beautifully. He may have gotten a couple of yards on the carry, but the Seahawks' support against the run on that side was just magnificent. John Harris coming up to make sure he got out of bounds.
One thing the 34 defense will allow you to do is get a lot of men to the ball. As the play progresses, you'll see continually linebackers all running to the ball. You've only got 3 down linemen in their spots, so they got a lot of people to the ball, as you said, Sam.
3rd down and 6 now for Green Bay. They bring on a 3rd wide receiver, Ron Cassidy. He wears number 88. And the 5th defensive back for Seattle is Kerry Justin. And split both of their wide receivers near side, out of your picture. They slot Ellis. They got everybody in the pattern. Over the middle, tipped, and incomplete. Pass was intended, I believe, for Lofton. Ellis was also in the area. But the ball was tipped up and fell incomplete, so Seattle should get it back in pretty good field position. 26 seconds left in the first quarter, a 7-7 football game. And Ray Stackowitz, the rookie out of Michigan State, is on to do the punting. You know why Bart Starr drafted him in the 3rd round? The guy kicked at Michigan State where it was cold and windy, and Starr felt that the guy who could kick in that kind of environment would be well suited for Green Bay, and he's right. Although Stakowicz hasn't had a chance yet to kick. No, that's not Jeff West. That's the other team. This is Stakowicz.
Stakowicz already has a 72-yarder, so he can kick in any kind of weather. Look at that one.
Isn't that magnificent? Paul Johns at his 32-yard line. Looking for a block to the 40. He got whacked around. A flag is down. 2 of them are down. Maybe clipping against Seattle. The tackle was made by Charlie Ani. And we'll just have to wait on this one. A 57-yard punt by Stakowicz and a 7-yard return by Paul Johns, but it may all be for naught as far as Seattle is concerned. Yep. Our officiating crew that we told you about earlier today.
You think our director and producer aren't right on the scene right here? Here comes the clip. Bang. They are right on the ball.
Well, if you had 15 monitors down in front of you, David, like Terry Ewert.
Clipping on the run back by the receiving team, number 60. First down.
Like Terry Ewert and Lou Ranoni, you'd do the same thing. No, I'm not. I'm kidding. I wouldn't want to take anything away from them. They do a great job in the truck. Kevin Turner is the player who was guilty of the clip. So it's first down, Seattle back at its own 22-yard line. One setback. Theodis Brown. And Zorn on the sprint draw to Brown. 35. Very close across the 40, in fact. Dragged down there by Rich Wingo, number 50, and George Cumbie, second-year man out of Oklahoma. Boy, they are active linebackers.
They certainly are.
We've come to the end of the first quarter as we look at the play once again. Zorn on the sprint draw. They do this so well.
They really have for year after year. And look at that hole there. Again, the splits of the linemen are creating those holes, and Theodis Brown is taking advantage of it.
So at the end of one quarter here in Green Bay football, 7-7 game, second quarter, second down and 3 now for Zorn. Look at this offensive alignment. Setting Largent up in the backfield, along with Dornick and Brown, and now Largent goes in motion. And they give to the deep back is Theodis Brown, very close to a first down as he reaches the 33-yard line. Stopped there by Mike Douglas, and they may have to bring the sticks on here to take a look at it.
Ron Essink here, number 64. From up in this area, the first player ever drafted from his school, Grand Valley State. So he's having himself an interesting day in there, too, as he's fighting. Look at that contact there. And over the pile he goes.
And they give the Seahawks a first down without even bringing the sticks in. So Brown gets it, running very well with the football today. And the Seahawks will not be deterred from their game plan. They ran so magnificently against the Jets in New York last Sunday for well over 200 yards. And wanting to keep the ball on the ground. It makes Zorn much more dangerous. Here's a fly pattern to Largent. And he caught it, I believe, inbounds. Or not. Yes, he did, at the 47-yard line of Green Bay. Mike McCoy had the coverage, but if Largent can get his hands on it, he'll catch it.
But what a perfectly well-timed play right here. Zorn throws it before he even makes his break, hangs it up here now. Largent's got to turn on the burners, and look at that concentration. He's been that way year after year. He's really been a find for them.
20 yards on the completion. You're talking about a man in Steve Largent, who in the 6 years that he has played in the NFL has caught more passes than any other man in that 6-year period. 336 to be exact. He may not get the publicity that Swan, Stallworth, Lofton, and Jefferson get, but he is an outstanding receiver. Good run by Theodis Brown inside the 40. Gaining about 7 or 8 yards on the carry. Bob Newton, the 11-year veteran out of Nebraska, leading the way. And that sets up a second down and 2. John Anderson from Michigan is the man who made the stop, Dave.
I was going to say, Sam, that you alluded to the fact that he doesn't get much publicity, Steve Largent, but he is as fine a person off the field as he is on it. You can look at his credentials. He's involved in a lot of civic activities, and just quite an attribute to the National Football League.
Second down and 2, and 3 wide receivers in there. The lone setback is Dornick, number 33. Largent, Johns, and McCullum are the wide receivers. Straight ahead to Dornick, big hole, 30. Trying to break a tackle there and roll down at the 27. He's finally stopped by Mike Douglas. But the Seahawks have it moving now. First down, Seattle at the Green Bay 27-yard line. I take it back. It was Maurice Harvey who made the stop and not Douglas.
We're seeing a lot of offensive football here as we watch this play coming through the line right here. He had a whale of a hole right there. That's what that spreading of the line again does for you. It allows you to get the lineman out wider, and he had a chance to go all the way that time, and they're on a long drive.
And the Packer fans now try to implore their defense to hang on. 7-7 is the score. If you joined us late, John Harris, pass interception, return to 44 yards for the Seattle touchdown. Green Bay on a 7-yard Whitehurst pass to Kaufman. And look at Theodis Brown again run people over inside the 25. Anderson and Cumbie combined to stop him. But another good gain on first down. Let's check some scores from around the National Football League and see what's going on. San Francisco has jumped out on Pittsburgh 10-0 at the half. Joe Montana to Charlie Young, Ray Wershing a field goal. There's an upset in the making. And Tampa Bay leading the Bears now 10-7. Doug Williams has thrown one touchdown pass. And at halftime, Atlanta leading New Orleans 24-10. Bartkowski has one touchdown pass. And 17-10 is the score. 12:07 to go in this one, first half. Second down and 5 for Zorn. Throws one out here all alone. Sherman Smith. Face mask inside the 20. That's good enough for a first down, but they'll tack some more on as Maurice Harvey got a hold of a face mask.
That face mask could have saved a touchdown, even though you have to give up the penalty right here. But he was off to the sidelines and down the sideline for a touchdown. That's all that kept him from going all the way. That's always been a very controversial call as a defensive lineman. I've seen that tons and tons of times, the face mask. And it's nice that they've taken it now. They make it one is flagrant when the guy really yanks it. And, of course, that's a 15-yard penalty. And then the other one, of course, is the inadvertible one where they just, it's an accidental type thing and they only fine you 5 yards.
I think we got the flagrant one here, half the distance to the goal. Here's Chuck Heberling, our referee.
Personal foul on the tackle, face mask, 15 yards, first down.
Take a look at it again. Smith had the first down. First time Sherman's been in there today.
Well, we can see it late right here as he just rips his face. Look at that right there. That's where a lot of people get hurt.
First down and goal for the Seahawks at the Packer 9-yard line. Dornick and Brown in the I formation behind Jimmy Zorn. Dornick, like a bull. Flag goes down as Dornick reaches the 2-yard line. But we may have a holding call here against Seattle. That's in the vicinity where they normally call that, isn't it, Dave?
That certainly is. Anytime you see that judge, that line judge, throw that flag in there, it's almost always a holding call. And that really hurts you when you're down deep in that territory.
Wouldn't that be something if it's Greg Cook? No, can't be. Wrong team on the field.
Yeah, it certainly do.
Oh, my goodness. Got confused for a moment.
That matchup really is a great idea.
We're having some fun with it.
Yeah, we certainly are.
I don't know if Jacob is, but we're having fun with it.
his
Holding, offense, number 51, first down.
That's John Yarno, the center, and John just came back last week. He had lost his starting job to Art Kuhn and started his first game of the year last Sunday in New York. And you know the great story on Yarno and Zorn. The people in Seattle got to be tired of hearing about it. Only left-handed snapper and left-handed quarterback, I think, in the history of pro football. Second down. Pitch out here, incomplete, intended for Brown, and almost intercepted. Mark Lee had a better shot at the football than did Brown.
Mark Lee almost had an 80-yard run right there. That was close.
So it's now second down and goal to go at the 18-yard line for Seattle as you look at David Whitehurst on the sidelines.
It's always amazed me, Sam, is the fact that that's the only time an offensive lineman gets his name mentioned is when he gets a holding call. And you never hear them ever say, great block by number 51, John Yarno.
Well, that's not true, Mr. Rowe. I take exception to that. We take pride in pointing out good blocks.
I mean by the referee.
Oh, the referee. I thought you meant the announcer. Second down. McCullum in the slot to the right. They stay on the ground. And Brown gets a nice chunk of yardage back as he gets it down to the 12-yard line. Brought down by Ezra Johnson, number 90, and I believe Mike Douglas, 53, who was everywhere. This young man had 15 unassisted tackles against San Francisco a couple of weeks ago, 10 of them against Detroit. He's got 74 tackles on the year. He has made the midseason all-NFC defensive squad. I mean, what else can you ask for a fourth-year player who is undersized? He's only 6 feet.
That's right.
Third down and goal. There's a 12-yard line. receiver. Jimmy's going to have to put this one into the end zone. He's got time. Over the middle. Touchdown! Dan Dornick out of the backfield, I believe. Or is that Rabel? No, it's Dornick out of the backfield. Couldn't see whether it was 33 or 83. Beautiful play from Zorn to Dornick. And they beat John Anderson again. They beat him in Detroit a couple of times last week.
Well, you've got the time right here, and Dornick comes circling out of the backfield. It's one-on-one, and that's a tough play to cover right there, and I know Dornick's excited about that. He's got an interesting statistic. He has really come on to play some football for these Seattle Seahawks.
Efren Herrera will try to tack on the extra point and make it 14-7. Zorn will hold the ball.
You know that Brown already has 50 yards and only 8 carries.
Is that right?
So he's halfway there to his 100.
Well, on his way to another 100-yard rushing day. The kick is perfect by Efren. And the Seahawks again assume the lead at 14-7. We got to press them today, but it hasn't taken them long, Dave, to get their Bart bags out, has it?
Well, Bart Starr is one of the great names in this area, and he is suffering, believe me.
They took a poll recently in a Racine, Wisconsin newspaper, and 89% of the Packer fans said that Bart ought to go back to the automobile business. So they're not particularly pleased, but I was glad to see they came out here with a lot of vigor today. A lot of enthusiasm. The return by Huckleby across the 20-yard line. And one reason why they're not happy, all you got to do is look at the standings. The Packers 2-6, tied for the Bears in last place. However, I think it ought to be pointed out that they're only 3 games out of first place with 8 to play. You know, they win today. This division is so evenly balanced. It has been for a number of years, Dave, that 9-7 has won this division. They didn't 8-8 one year win it? 9-7, I'm sure, won it. On the other hand, Seattle 4 games behind first place Kansas City. Here we go with the Packer offense. They're down 14-7. Gary Ellis and Curdell Middleton in the backfield behind Whitehurst. And he wants to throw it. Middleton, 25, out of bounds. Good gain on first down, about 5 or 6 yards. Michael Jackson, in his 3rd year out of the University of Washington, is a man who ran him out.
It really hurts you when you lose a player like the midst of Mr. Hardy. When you lose him, it really hurts your pass rush, and they're getting a little bit of time to stand in there and pass that ball. Whitehurst had some time that time to look off his primary receiver and come back out to the flats. So Green Bay, like I said, if they want to get in, they've got to control the line of scrimmage.
And they have not been very successful getting the ball to their wideouts. Lofton's caught one. Jefferson, I don't believe, has caught a pass today. Ellis, first down to the 35. John Harris wrestles him down as he crosses the 35-yard line. But the Green Bay Packers moving the ball on the ground for the first down. Let's go back to our matchup of the day now. Greg Cook against Jacob Green.
Well, he's getting a whale of a double team there to start. Cook is just driving him off the ball on that play, and you can't play like that. That's a great Cook, big one.
So as we check the scoreboard, Greg Cook is annihilating Jacob Green here in the first half. And I remind you, this scoreboard is only an indication of the plays that we're isolating on. On the other 3 plays in any given series, Jacob may be wiping out Cook, so it's not really. Oh, down the middle all alone. Complete at the 35-yard line is Curdell Middleton. Harris is a man who knocked him down, but he got loose in the secondary.
This is what you call being wide open right there. Whitehurst has got the ability to lead this team. He proved that last week when he came in a relief role, threw for 243 yards. That's good for an entire day. If this team can rally around him, we can have an exciting day.
From the 36-yard line, the Green Bay Packers now with the first down, trying to get even again. Says Jefferson in motion. Ellis comes near side. Big hole, 30 to the 27-yard line. Very close to another Green Bay first down. And the Packers now moving the football. Joe Norman, the middle linebacker, is the man who made the stop.
Well, we've seen 2 long drives in this game, an 80-yarder, and of course that last one 78 yards. And, well, I'll tell you one thing, we're playing some offensive football today here, Sam.
8:55 to go first half. The Packers trail 14-7. But their fans are alive again. Second down and 1. Ellis, hole again, 25. He got the first down as he reached the 23-yard line. Norman came over to make the stop. Leotis Harris leading the way, but the Packers have another first down. Not bad for a second-year man. And a free agent of that.
That's right. An interesting thing is Joe Norman. Did you know that he was drafted playing baseball, Sam? He was drafted by the Philadelphia Phillies as a third baseman.
You did your homework, Dave.
That's right, and he is ambidextrous, too, just like me. He can talk with either side.
A lot of politicians
Isn't that what that means?
First down, Green Bay, 8:12 to go. First down, 14-7, Seattle. JJ in motion again near side. He's seen Seattle a number of times, hasn't he? Playing San Diego in the same division. Complete to Jimmy Jensen out of the backfield at the 15-yard line. Former Denver Bronco, who's playing very well when called upon. And again, the nice thing about what both Whitehurst and Zorn are doing today, particularly Whitehurst, Dave, as you know, it's important to win first down. 4 yards or more, I think a coach usually determines a win. And they're setting up second and third down to do anything they want.
That really helps when you get that 5 or 6 yards on first down. It really makes it easy on second down. And this is an easy down here, too.
Harry Beeson replaces Joe Norman in the middle now for Seattle. Second and 2. Middleton goes outside to the 10. First down. First down, goal to go, Green Bay.
Sam, you've done football enough. You know that when a team plays with pride, as these two teams are 2 and 6, when they play with pride, you've got a great game, and that's what we're having here. These two teams are playing with pride. They don't feel that they're 2 and 6. Both of them feel that they can win, and it's evidence right there. Look at that play right there, down inside the 10-yard line.
So the Packers 9 yards away from the equalizer. Terry Justin comes into the lineup now, replacing Michael Jackson. 5 defensive backs for Seattle. Under 6:45 to go in the second quarter. Jensen gets the call. Good defensive play by number 70, Mike White. In his third year out of Albany State in Georgia, former Cincinnati Bengal, who has done very well replacing Robert Hardy, who went out with an ankle sprain early in the ballgame.
He's got some big shoes to fill. You know what that was right there, Sam? That was a play of what they're going to run next. Now, not me not knowing hand signals like that, but they signal the plays, of course, from the sideline, and the quarterback has a set rhythm that he picks up.
Luke Carpenter in the press box, down to Zeke Bratkowski on the sideline, and then right into quarterback Whitehurst. Second down, goal to go at the 9. Here's the blitz. Whitehurst puts it up. Lofton couldn't hold on to it. I don't think he could have gotten both feet down anyway. John Harris on the safety blitz was all over Whitehurst. An excellent defensive call by Seattle, and David did the only thing he could with it. That's get rid of the football.
He certainly did. This could have really backfired on him, though. The safety blitz is coming right in his face, and he just throws it up for grabs right there. Look at the height on that ball. Of course, Lofton was unable to come down with it, but it was close.
So the Packers now have a third down and goal. They've got the ball at the 8-yard line. 5:55 to go second quarter. They bring both of their $1 million receivers to the near side. Lofton is left. Jefferson is in the slot to the left. Ellison goes in the setback. Whitehurst back to pass again. Looking in the end zone. Now going to run for it. To the 5. To the 2. Loses his helmet at the 2-yard line. He took a rap at the 2 and he lost his helmet. And listen to the crowd.
You can say what you want about David Whitehurst as far as him throwing interceptions, but I'll tell you, on that play right there, that was all heart. Dove in there on fourth down. It's going to be a heck of a down for him right here as we got a timeout, and Green Bay wants to talk about it.
So the Packers are going to discuss their plans. It looks like they're going to go for it on fourth down in less than 2. 14-7.
When you talk about effort, Sam, this is an effort as we watch David Whitehurst here drop back in his pocket right here. He sees the seam in front of him. No one's open. And watch this effort right here. You want to talk about a quarterback putting his head down. Look at that shot right there. He came to play football today.
He's also run the ball 6 times previously this year for 48 yards. So he's a guy who averages about 8 yards a pop every time he runs with it. And he got 7 yards that time. They got fourth down and goal to go at the 1. They bring Tim Stokes in as an extra blocker. Well, I guess Stokes replaces Cook. They've got Cook out of the lineup. There goes our matchup of the day, huh? I hope he didn't get hurt. So it's fourth down and goal to go at the 1. Green Bay looking for a tying touchdown. Middleton and Ellis in the setbacks. Middleton in motion. Whitehurst bobbled the snap, rolling to the right. Now dashes. Touchdown, Green Bay. And watch that play again, David. Right from the snap, I think you'll see Whitehurst had problems. No, I guess we don't have it from there, but he did a great piece of running to get in.
He certainly did. You allude to the fact that he can run. Look at that. No one's open. And watch him put his head down again. And he takes another shot. I'll tell you, they can boo him all they want, but that's my kind of quarterback. He's a gutty player.
Jan Stenerud, the former Kansas City great, will attempt to tie the game up. He puts it up, and it's good. And our game is tied at 14-all with 5:19 to go second quarter. Packer fans love it. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WFRV-TV, Channel 5, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Along with Dave Rose, Sam Nover in Green Bay, Wisconsin, the Packers and the Seattle Seahawks tied at 14. Couldn't ask for a better football game. Couldn't ask for a better day.
Certainly can.
Here's the kick down by Stenerud. A very short one, fielded by Will Lewis at the 20-yard line. Fumbles the ball. Scramble is on. And I believe, no, hold on for a second. Yep, Green Bay's got it. Number 30, Bill Whitaker, should get up from the bottom of the pile with a football. Not bad, Bill. Well, we got a spotter up here who's got eyes like a... You can see through pile-up very well. Look at this one again. The Packers now set up for the go-ahead score.
Anytime you have a real short kick like this, your coverage is almost immediately on him. You see him coming in the picture right there. And he just fumbled the ball without even getting touched in his move right there. Well, that ball's just scrambling around. Now, how did he pick him out of that pile? That's what I want to know.
I have no idea. From the 24-yard line, the Packers have it first down. Pitch to Gary Ellis. 20, 15, and a flag is down. Mike White, number 70, is the man who made the tackle, but let's see whether or not they've got Green Bay for holding here. Concerned Jack Patera on the sidelines.
You can always look at a defensive lineman and tell immediately if it's holding on the offense because they automatically signal to the coach, so it's holding.
I don't know if anybody really cares or not, but the man you're looking at lives 2 blocks away from me. Do you care?
Is that right?
He doesn't help me prepare for the game. Chuck Eberling.
Offense, number 57, first down.
I will say this, Sam, in 13 years that I've played, I'm going to tell you, those officials are excellent. They do a great job.
That's high praise, David, and you're absolutely right. Darrell Goforth is the man who was guilty of holding on the play, so the Seahawks get a break. First down and 20 now for the Packers back at the 34-yard line of Seattle. Same setbacks, Ellis 31, Curdell Middleton 34. And they still have not gotten the ball to Jefferson. Play action for Whitehurst. Throws it downfield. It's caught at the 10-yard line. Harlan Huckleby still fighting for yardage. In the grasp of John Harris, first down and goal to go Green Bay.
What a second effort here. Look at that effort to get downfield right here. Oh, Harris is just holding on, just trying to get some help coming in here.
Boys, Whitehurst having a day. 25 yards on that completion. Green Bay has it first and goal at the Seattle 8-yard line. The crowd is ready to jump out of its skin. Whitehurst in the end zone to Lofton, touchdown!
You said it's a $1 million bag, the $1 million wide receivers here. As Whitehurst goes to James Lofton out here, and it's the sun is right in his eyes. He's got a tough catch right here to come back on the ball, but he was wide open too. Fourth touchdown reception of the year for James Lofton. Stenerud's kick is up, and that is perfect. And the Green Bay Packers have gotten off the deck here, trailing 14-7 before their unhappy home folks
Had a nice fan appreciation day to get him stuck. Special tee that Jan Stenerud developed for sidewinding kickers, and I understand he's marketed and sold about 40,000 of those.
It tells you how many soccer-style kickers are coming up in schools today.
Only problem is he hasn't done very well with it himself today. He had a couple of bad kicks. This one's a lot better. 5-yard line. Paul Johns to the 15. At the 20, down he goes. Good special teams coverage by Guy Prather, number 51, and a penalty marker is down. So Seattle, at best, will begin at its own 20 and maybe half the distance back from that.
I believe it's another holding call.
Good eyes, David Rowe. Holding against Seattle, so they will begin at the 10-yard line. They've got 4:08 to go the distance. That didn't take them very long.
It certainly did. 3 plays, 24 yards, and only 52 seconds. But don't ever count Seattle out. They've got a great offense. They've got a great leader in Jimmy Zorn, and they can come back and hit you anytime.
Actually, they went 34 yards. Remember, they had the holding call?
Right, they did.
On the return, number 60. First down.
Kevin Turner, number 60. Jack Patera.
Boy, is he intense.
Man who did a lot in forming the fearsome foursome. Purple People Eaters in Minnesota. Been an outstanding coach. Great student of the game of football. Locked into a secure contract, but not winning football games. Down goes Zorn. Casey Merrill is the man who brought him down. Jim Jodat, number 43, is now in the Seattle backfield along with Sherman Smith.
In fairness to Zorn, he lost his footing initially here, and it really messes up the timing. You can see as he sets back right here and goes to set, he loses his footing early, and it just really loses the timing of the pass play. So there was just no one to throw to.
Jodat not far from his hometown of Milwaukee, so I'm sure he's got some friends and neighbors around here today. Second down, 12 to go now for Zorn. Stays on the ground. Jodat stumbled as he took the handoff and barely got back to the line of scrimmage. So Seattle finding it tough at the moment. Trailing 21-14, deep in their own territory. 3:25 to go in the half. They probably love to get out of here with a 7-point deficit, but Green Bay may get that ball back in pretty good field position, Dave, and we know what they've done with it offensively. Third down conversions, the Seahawks are 0 for 4. Packers are 0 for 4 for that matter, too, but they haven't had to get the third down very often. See what Zorn does here. Defensive backs for the Packers as McCullum goes in motion. Zorn from his end zone. Steps up in the pocket. Has a man. McCullum bobbled it, couldn't hold on. He had the first down up around the 25-yard line, but he couldn't hold on to the football. That's the first time to my memory they've thrown to Sam McCullum today.
It certainly is, Sam. Very observant. He should have had that catch. He was coming across the middle. He was wide open. And he really should have caught that ball, and it would have gotten him out of the hole, as you said.
You know, we were talking, I'll tell you a story in just a minute here.
Right there, you can see how open he was. He just bobbled the ball. Of course, he took a heck of a shot there, too.
Jeff West in his own end zone, kicking to Mark Lee, number 22, standing at the 50-yard line. Ron Cassidy it is, number 88. Short punt. Fair catch at the 41-yard line. Bobbles the ball! And I think Green Bay got it back at the 48. Seattle, a couple of players had their hands on the ball and could not hold on. And the hero is Maurice Harvey, number 23, who saved the day.
I've never, ever wanted to ever catch a ball like that right there with two guys running down on you. Right there, 68 should have come up with the ball. He had a good chance, as did 80 also. They just were fortunate they didn't come up. They were unlucky, I guess you say, Sam, that they didn't come up with it.
We were talking a moment ago about Jodat coming from Milwaukee, and I'm sure he's got friends and family here. David Craig played his college ball at Milton College here in the state of Wisconsin. Bought 66 tickets for the ball game. Can you imagine?
The only reason he didn't buy more is because they probably weren't available.
Probably spent his whole weekly paycheck. He's a third-team quarterback for Seattle. Here's a reverse. Jefferson fumbles it, and Seattle's got it. When you lead by 7, why would you try something like that with 2.5 to go in the half?
I think that was a poor call. But I'll tell you why he fumbled the ball. He saw our matchup standing right there, Jacob Green. Wait till you see the eyes of Jacob Green right here as he takes the handoff right there. See Jacob Green coming into picture, number 79. I might give up the ball, too, if I was the size of John Jefferson. So I'm going to give, even though that wasn't isolate, I'm going to give Jacob Green 1 point for that.
Give Jacob Green a point. I can't understand it. From the 43-yard line, Green Bay leading 21-14, only 2.5 to go in the half. Having just saved the day by recovering one of their own fumbles, they try to go to the fancy stuff, and they cough it up. Now Seattle can get back in the ballgame. Sherman Smith at the 38-yard line, dragged down by John Anderson in his 4th year out of Michigan. Very bright football player is Mr. Anderson, and a very gifted athlete. Moving to the 2-minute warning. Seattle in the hurry-up offense now. They've only got 2 timeouts remaining, don't forget. They used one early on. Zorn calling the play at the line of scrimmage. Long count. He's down to 2:03. This will be the last play of the half. Stands in the pocket, tried to dump it over the middle to Dornick, and he threw it right into the ground, and that will do it for the 2-minute warning. So the clock is stopped with 1:59 to go in the first half. When we come back, Seattle will have a 3rd down and 5 and a chance to get back in the football game. The Packers, Green Bay, 21-14. The Packers lead Seattle. Seahawks have it 3rd down and 4 at the Green Bay 38-yard line following the fumble recovery by Joe Norman. Of course, stay tuned at halftime. We'll have scores and highlights of other games around the National Football League, as well as some highlights from this one. We've got a dandy so far. What would you do here, David?
I'm going to throw it.
Let's see, Zorn. That's McCullum in motion. And the draw to Dornick. Third to Theodis Brown, and he didn't get it. Inside the 35 to the 34. I don't believe he got the first down. John Anderson and Casey Merrill combined to make the stop. They will stop the clock with 1:47 to go. He's close enough for a measurement.
He certainly is. Every team practices this 2-minute offense. That's what they call 2-minute offense, offense against the defense. Each team practices it at least 1 day a week for this very same situation. They practice from about the 45-yard line in, run a set pattern of plays, and the defense tries to stop them. So they're very well prepared. Both teams are very well prepared for this particular situation.
4th down, and as you see, about a half a yard to go now for Seattle. There's no doubt Patera will go for it.
Well, it's a tough situation because you almost have to run for it, but they don't have the timeouts.
Good point. You know, getting back to the play in question that we talked about a couple of minutes ago, I can understand Bart Starr's thinking. Run the fancy stuff, break the game wide open, put him down by 14 at half, and maybe take all the spirit out of it.
Well, it's a play that can work positively for you or positively against you.
But it's a big gamble. That's what I'm questioning. He already leads by 7. His team came off the deck. They're just building confidence in Whitehurst, and they cough it up and give Seattle a big chance. Brown, first down and much more. Trying to get out of bounds, and he throws the ball out, and they stop the clock with 26 seconds to play in the half. And I beg your pardon, at the 26-yard line with 1:30 to play in the half.
A very interesting thing right there. Theodis Brown, knowing he couldn't get out of bounds, fumbled the ball out of bounds. And that's an interesting thing because they would not have stopped the clock had he not fumbled out of bounds. He was tackled well within the sideline.
Seattle still has 2 timeouts remaining. First down. Good tight shot at Jimmy Zorn. Hasn't he been one of the most exciting performers in the NFL since he came over? Dornick and Brown in the backfield. Zorn, good protection, dumps it over the middle on a crossing pattern to Dornick, and he's brought down to the 24-yard line. John Anderson chased him all the way across the field to make the tackle. And the clock continues to run. Seattle in the hurry-up offense. Gained 2 yards on the play, 2nd down and 8. They're ready to go again. Get at least 3 out of this, I'm sure. Zorn stepping up in the pocket. They got him. Now he releases the ball. It's caught by McCullum at the 6-yard line. Sam McCullum with a sliding catch. Timeout, Seattle. First down and goal to go at the Green Bay 6.5-yard line.
You said Jimmy Zorn continually has been a great player all these years. I've always had a lot of admiration for him, which has really been successful for him. But then you've got that hurry-up situation that you've got to come back with.
In throwing his touchdown pass to Dornick earlier in the game, Jim Zorn has now thrown at least one touchdown pass in 8 of the 9 games that Seattle has played this year, which is a remarkable record. The only problem is that he has thrown no more than 1. He only has 8 touchdown passes. He'd probably like to have 2 or 3 in some games, and he'll have a chance now to throw 2 or more for the first time this year.
He certainly is a talented player. Did you know that he played the viola with the Seattle Symphony?
I
couldn't believe that when I read that. It just shows how smart us football players are.
I remember Mike Reed used to be a concert
Cincinnati Bengals. Right. Certainly was.
pianist, wasn't he?
Right.
All right, back to football. Brown, number 30. Dornick, 33 are the setbacks behind Zorn. Seattle trying to get the tying touchdown before the half. Quarterback draw. Nothing doing. Great play by Mike Butler, number 77, former number 1 draft choice, out of the University of Kansas. In his 5th year, he had Zorn all the way. Second down at the 5. Good call, equally good play by Butler. Now Zorn's going to have to kick it. Steps up in the pocket. No! Flag is down. He reaches the 2-yard line. 27 seconds to go in the half, and the clock stops. And we may have a holding against Seattle. We sure do.
There's going to be an interesting situation right there, whether Efren Herrera can come in and kick. He had the problem with a twisted knee, and I'm sure they don't want to bring Doug Sutherland in here to have to kick on a tight situation like this, a pressure situation with only 27 seconds left.
Holding, offense, number 76. Second down.
That's veteran Steve August out of Tulsa. I'm sure nobody feels worse about it than he does. So they're back now at the 15-yard line. Second down, goal to go Seattle. Ezra Johnson, number 90, replaces Casey Merrill. They got 6 defensive backs in there. It's quite obvious what the Packers expect. I would think Zorn could throw 2 of them into the end zone here without any problem. Time is not a factor. He can throw it twice. He's got 1 timeout left. Throws this one. He's got a man. Touchdown to Dornick. What a beautiful pass by Zorn. Look at Jimmy in the center of the field. He loves it. And again, John Anderson was a beaten linebacker.
I'll tell you, what a competitor Jimmy Zorn is. You can't just say enough about him. What a gentleman, too. And you can see the emotion. These players play with emotion. Look at him right there. He's excited. He's a young, excited football player. Watch the emotion on him as he comes. He's going to Dornick all the way, swinging Dornick out of the backfield right here. He sees him. He lays in, and it's a well-thrown ball because he's, look at that, right on the money right there. Touchdown.
The incredible thing is that before today's game, Dan Dornick had caught only 4 passes all year. He's got 2 touchdown catches today. Placement by Zorn. Herrera's kick is up, and it's perfect. And with 22 seconds to go in the half, we're even Steven. 21 all.
Will we see Green Bay come back and score again? Have we seen a punt today? I forgot about that.
We've had a couple. Stakowicz once, and I think West twice. Yeah. David, as you well know, we did a Baltimore-Miami game earlier this year, a 31-28 game that we thought probably is about as exciting as any football game that we've seen, but this one I have a feeling is going to be every bit the equal. Next Saturday, Johnny Rutherford returns to the site of his horrendous crash last year to compete in the Cart Phoenix 150. Challenging him will be Indy 500 champion Bobby Unser, along with Rick Mears and Al Unser, as well as a tricky Phoenix Oval, plus bulging biceps abound. Try to say that. Some of the most muscular men and women in the world meet to see who's cut out to be the mixed pairs world bodybuilding champions. That's all next Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC Sports World.
You know, they called me up for that, but I wasn't able to make it, Sam.
You could qualify, my friend.
So, Sam, you can go in my place.
I'll go in your place. All 5'8", 148 pounds of me, huh? What do you weigh now, David? You your playing weight?
I'm 6'8", 285. Well, 283 this morning. I got in the sauna for a long time last night.
What did you play at?
I played around 278 to 280, and I'll guarantee you that Norm Evans back in Seattle remembers me.
He was a pretty good offensive lineman.
He certainly was.
Squib kick by Herrera. Oh, he looks like he might have hurt himself on that one. Packers fall on it at their own 27-yard line. Herrera is hobbling off the field, as we told you. He had a problem coming into this football game, a twisted knee, and I hope for his sake and for Seattle's sake he hasn't re-injured.
I think in that situation I would have brought Doug Sutherland in to kick off for him because he has had the twisted knee, and they really do need him in this situation for the extra points and field goals.
So the Packers have 21 seconds now left in the half and a couple of timeouts to move down the field. It's starting to get just a wee bit chilly here in Green Bay. We've got a beautiful day, but now the sun goes in behind the clouds. This temperature will drop quickly. Lofton, Cassidy, and Jefferson, the wide receivers. And Whitehurst, who's been magnificent in the first half, almost intercepted, tipped by Jacob Green, and almost intercepted by number 65.
69, the old guy.
Doug Sutherland, yeah, the old guy.
I played with Doug back in New Orleans. Well, I guess we're going to have to give Jacob Green another point right here because he comes in right here. It's just a simple dump out there to Gary Ellis, and Jacob Green goes high. He was an unbelievable basketball player in high school. His high school team won 83 straight basketball games, and he got up in the air and, as you say in football, skied.
He spiked it. 26-yard line is the line of scrimmage. Whitehurst looking for more, throws it over the middle, complete to Gary Ellis out of the backfield, trying to get away from one man, and couldn't do it. Good defensive play by Keith Butler, number 53, to hang on. And that will just about do it. No, we got 6 seconds left, and the Packers elect to stop the clock here. They'll have one more shot downfield.
An interesting move. With 6 seconds, they're obviously not going to get in the position that Jan Senero is going to be able to kick. And I can't understand why they really stopped the clock with 6 seconds.
I'm no coach, Mr. Rowe, but I don't understand a couple of things that Bart Starr has done late in this ballgame. There's Lynn Dickey on the sideline. Green Bay fans know his story very well. Playing quite well this year. Suffered a jammed neck against San Francisco a few weeks ago. Last week in Detroit, William Gay speared him in the back, lost the feeling in both of his arms, went out of the game, did not return. Checked by a neurosurgeon this week, was told he could play if he wanted to, but I think discretion is a better part of valor for Lynn Dickey. He is not going to play today.
In talking with Lynn before the game, you know, he said that William Gay came up to him at halftime going in and apologized for the hit. Lynn was very vocal about that this week, and in fact said that there should be much more stricter fines than that on those type of injuries. But he is a real competitor. He came back from an injury that probably would have ended most players' careers.
Well, if I were Mr. Dickey, I would be equally concerned today, not only about my health, but my competition. David Whitehurst is 13 out of 20 in the first half for 127 yards, a couple of touchdowns. He's had 2 picked off. One was not his fault when Huckleby fell down, and it was intercepted by John Harris, who returned it for a touchdown. But Whitehurst has been, I think, nothing shy of scintillating here in the half. Last play of the half, I would presume. Third down. And the Seahawks have 3 men deep. Ellis on the run. 35. That's good for his stats, isn't it, David? Out of bounds as the half comes to an end. So, couldn't ask for much more. 3 touchdowns aside, 21 all at the half. That's the end of our first half from Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Green Bay Packers and Seattle Seahawks tied at 21. Our halftime activities will begin in just a wee bit, but it still is very close. Minute 14 seconds difference. Needless to say, they both have their opportunities and they both capitalized. So, second half, 21 all. Seattle having scored more points or as many points today as they've scored in any game this year. Middleton at the 10. 20, 25, good return to the 30-yard line. Jerdell Middleton. And again, let's reset the offense for you as the Packers go to work. With David Whitehurst at quarterback, let's see if Middleton stays in there. Apparently he will not. Coming off the field, so it'll be Harlan Huckleby and Gary Ellis with Whitehurst. And the receivers, Lofton, John Jefferson, who has not caught a pass today, and the tight end Paul Kaufman, who's got a touchdown catch. And the offensive line of Concar, Goforth, McCarron, Harris, and Cook, and we'll keep that matchup for you. Huckleby. Nothing there. Tried to take it outside and got about 3 yards from the 33-yard line. Stopped by John Harris, number 47. Defensively for Seattle, they'll go with the same lineup, excepting Robert Hardy. Mike White starts for the injured Hardy. Green put White in there with Sutherland and Tui Asasopo. Jackson, Norman, and Butler are the linebackers. And the deep four, Simpson and Brown at the corners. They're glad to have David Brown back. You know, he's one of the 3 original Seahawks still with the ball club and has been out most of the year. 2nd and 7 now. Whitehurst back to pass. Over the middle, he completes the pass at the 40-yard line. First catch of the day for John Jefferson. And Kenny Easley had the coverage. I don't know if they're going to allow it up there. Yeah, they'll spot the ball just shy of the first down. Let's go back to our matchup of the day, David.
Well, of course, our matchup of the day has been Jacob Green against Greg Cook. We can see the pass rush here by Jacob Green trying to throw him outside. The thing that Greg Cook wants to do in that area is just to run him wide, and it's what he did. So I guess we'll have to give that to Mr. Cook again.
What is our score? I have forgotten.
I think we might have to flash it up. 3-5 in 1 draw. 3 for, of course, Jacob Green, 5 for Greg Cook, and 1 draw.
Inches for a first down. 3rd down now for Green Bay.
Short for the first down. 3rd and inches. Ball on the 40.
How do you feel about it? You know, we've got 2 different defensive philosophies, obviously with Starr and Patera. Seattle still goes with a 4-down lineman. You know all about the 3-down lineman because you played out in Oakland as a nose tackle. And that's what Green Bay uses. We'll talk about that in a minute. Double tight end now for the Packers on 3rd and short. Straight ahead, first down for Gary Ellis without any problem. How do you feel about the differences, David?
Well, there's a great philosophy that the 3-man line allows you to get more linebackers. If you've got 4 good linebackers that can really get to the ball, as we watch the first down being indicated here, if you have the linebackers to play it, it's a great defense. But if you don't, the 4-man line gives you more stability up in the line, allows you to have more pass rush.
Well, they've got the 4 linebackers in Green Bay to play it.
They certainly do.
First down, Packers at their own 41-yard line. We have a 21-all tie here in Green Bay. They shot the lights out, scoring touchdowns in the first half, if by any chance you missed it. Lofton in motion. And Whitehurst. From behind, a great defensive play by Manu Tuiasosopo.
Well, we haven't called his name much today, Tuiasosopo, but he really had a great rush that time. Got off the ball real quick and really got the pressure, came around the backside.
He's had to make a conversion. He was a tackle in his first couple of years, has moved outside as you look again at Cook and Green.
Well, that's just good, hard fighting football right there. Both those players must have, that's a draw right there, by the way.
Sure.
Yeah, that is a draw.
Second down to 10, Kerry Justin becomes a nickel back to Seattle, and Green Bay goes to 3 wide receivers, Jefferson, Lofton, and Cassidy. And the delay, Ellis bounces off the middle, 45, up near midfield, a great running effort by Gary Ellis. You got to like this kid. He's got a great nose to take the ball where there is a little bit of light, a little opening.
Well, we've got our scoreboard updated right here as we watch Jacob Green with 3 and Greg Cook, of course, with 5 and 2 draws. And, of course, that's just, again, the plays that we've highlighted. But, boy, that's an interesting thing. Because I tell you, as you look at something like that, it's exciting to know how they're doing.
We've got Ellis with 100 yards on the nose and 13 carries today. Here's Huckleby for 5 or 6 yards. Now they're finding some daylight in the center of that Seattle line. Tuiasosopo dragged him down as he reached the 44-yard line of Seattle. That will be another Green Bay first down, and Whitehurst play calling. Actually, we ought to give credit to Carpenter and Bratkowski. But whomever.
Well, the quarterback has the chance to audibilize from the call from the sideline. But it's a funny thing. I think they're trying more so to help out David Whitehurst in this situation, to give him a little bit more confidence in the play call.
From the 45-yard line of Seattle, Green Bay has the football, 21-all tie, and there's flags all over the place. Perhaps against Green Bay. Let's wait.
Excellent call, Sam. We have a little offensive motion in the backfield.
Mark Concar, number 79, is the man who's guilty, so they'll walk off 5 back to the 50-yard line, and then we'll listen to Chuck Everett. I guess he's already done his thing.
Well, there's the signals right there we've been looking at. He's telling them, he said, listen, we need a first down. We're on first down. We've got 15 yards to go, so completed.
I got punished for not watching my monitor that time. I was looking away and missed Everly's performance. First and 15, 11:35 2:36 to go, third quarter. Whitehurst, Huckleby on the sweep. And Seattle again swung it out beautifully and gave him maybe a yard, if at all. Keith Simpson, 42, is over there to run him out of bounds. They string it out very nicely. If there's one thing Seattle's done today, the sweeps that have been obvious, they have been able to run him down, although Ellis has made some yards on the outside.
Well, they've got excellent speed in their secondary and linebackers, and they're able to get to the play. As long as the play doesn't break through the line, they've got a chance, like you say, to string it out along the line. And some of the longest runs that you'll see in football are from sideline to sideline, and they don't hurt you.
Second down, 15 for Green Bay. Whitehurst back to pass. Tuiasosopo breaks clear, and he dumps it over the middle to Ellis. And it was too low for him to catch. He felt the pressure. Tuiasosopo broke free, and actually the interior blocking of Green Bay was about to break down.
There's our matchup getting up real late. Jacob Green, number 79. Boy, does he have speed and size. Here's our matchup again as we watch coming from the top side, Jacob Green against Greg Cook. You can see the pressure right here. As you said, Tuiasosopo gets good pressure in here, forces Whitehurst to step up. There's not a big area to step up, and watch him go down.
A couple of scores for you. I'll give them to you right after this play. Third down. 15 yards to go for Whitehurst. They have not been very effective converting third down plays. Scrambles free, right into the grasp of Jacob Green, and down he goes for a 2-yard loss. So it'll be fourth down for the Packers. They'll have to give it up. I think the Packers now are 1 out of 8 in third down conversions. Seattle's 1 out of 5. That doesn't speak too highly for their ability to convert, does it?
That means that they've been moving the ball on first and second down, though, with 42 points in this game.
Stakowitz will be kicking to Paul Johns, back of the 10-yard line. So Seattle will get a chance to break the tie. I still owe you 2 scores. I haven't forgotten about it. Can you imagine people waiting out there wanting to know what's going on?
Well, there's so many great games today, they want to know which one it is.
Partially blocked by Green Bay. I think somebody got a hand on that ball.
Kenny
and deflected it out of bounds. Kenny Easley, number 45. I think he tipped the ball. And that'll give Seattle excellent field position. Here are your 2 scores. Cincinnati 34-21 over Houston. That's fourth quarter. Here it is again.
Watch Kenny Easley come from the outside. He rushes all the way around the outside. Great speed, number 1 draft choice from UCLA, and here it is.
And the other score also in the fourth quarter, the Jets lead the Giants 19. Giving you as we went off to that commercial break, 34-21 now. Cincinnati leads it in the fourth quarter. Also in the fourth quarter, the Jets lead the Giants 19-7. 2 finals. Miami has beaten the Baltimore Colts 27-10, so Baltimore kept them under 40 today. And Tampa Bay over Chicago, a score certainly of interest to Green Bay fans. 20-10, the final. The Tampa Bay Bucks 20, Chicago Bears 10. Here it's 21-all. Seattle has the ball for the first time in the second half with Dornick and Theodis Brown behind Zorn, but he wants to put it up. And he did. And Dornick got wrapped by Rich Wingo, number 50. Lost him a couple of yards. It'll be second down and 12. We look again at Jimmy Zorn, who's had success going to his backs today.
Well, he thought Dornick right here when the releases would be open, and Wingo comes along, and that's what you call a hit.
So it's second down. Let's call it 13. A loss of 3 on the play. Largent goes wide to the left and McCullum to the right. Largent has not really been much of a factor today at all, Dave.
He certainly has not, but he's always present.
Theodis Brown to the 45-yard line. Brought down by Wingo and Anderson, the 2 linebackers on the left side. Pretty good scamper by Brown. He accelerates very well. You talk about great athletes. When you talk about Theodis Brown, you're talking about a young man who in high school ran a 9.600, ran a 48.8 440, long jump 23 feet 8 inches, threw the shot put 52 feet, and the discus 165 feet. He can do it all. He just didn't get a chance to play in St. Louis with O.J. Anderson. 3 wide receivers. Paul Johns becomes the third one, and the nickel defense now employed by Green Bay. But Brown gets the call and gets the first down into Green Bay territory at the 47-yard line.
Well, Jack Patera really liked him coming out of college. He made that statement last week that he really liked him coming out of college, so he was a great prospect, and he certainly hasn't proved him wrong today or last week. Here we see Jimmy Zorn, a simple pass right here. Again, trying to stop the rush of Green Bay. He's getting pressure. dumps it off to Theodis Brown, and boy, does he have good vision and acceleration. As you said, under 10 seconds in the 100-yard dashes, and the size to do what he did in the weight events also.
Well, as I said, he got buried in St. Louis behind O.J. Anderson. They had dreamed of the Otis and Theodis show, and it never really materialized except on radio in St. Louis. I guess they had a radio show, but they never did it on the football field. Zorn play action has a man wide open, close to another first down at the 37-yard line. Mark Lee had the coverage, and let's see who the receiver is. McCullum, I believe, number 84 it is, Sam. And so Zorn is picking the Green Bay defense apart here, moving the ball down the field with 9 minutes to play third quarter, and we're still tied at 21.
Not only does Jim Zorn have the ability to pass so well, he is an always threat, constant threat to run.
Second down and 1. Mike Tice has been spending some time at tight end. There you see him, number 86 now flopping sides, former quarterback at Maryland. And Zorn the sprint draw. And it should be good enough for a first down. Theodis Brown into the line. Incidentally, let me point out and congratulate the folks out in Seattle. They have apparently run a civic contest out there to give the name of the city a title. You know, like Big Apple is New York, the Windy City is Chicago. And they have named Seattle the Emerald City. And it's a lovely town for anybody who's had a chance to visit it. So my congratulations to the folks out there. We can't wait till we get the chance to visit the Emerald City again.
It's beautiful. I love going out there for a visit.
Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WEAU TV 13 Eau Claire.
That's our score. Sam Nover and Dave Rowe. We're in Green Bay, Wisconsin. 8:17 to go third quarter. First down for the Seattle Seahawks, moving the football now with one setback. Sherman Smith, number 47. And the pitch is to Smith. Pulls up, reverses his field, dropped for a loss. Good pursuit by the Green Bay Packers. George Cumby, 52, is the man who made the stop. The way they set that up, David, I'm looking for Smith to throw the football. You know, he was a quarterback at Miami of Ohio.
And I think he was looking for that also. Seattle can do so many things to hurt you. They've got so many talented athletes out there. They've really got some players.
Loss of 1, second down 11. Paul Johns replaces Sam McCullum at wide receiver. And Johns goes to the top of your screen, wide to the left, Largent to the right. Dornick is the ump back with Sherman Smith. And it goes play action to Zorn. Looking downfield. Being chased and brought down by Anderson. Third sack of the day for the Packers, and Anderson earned that one. He ran him down across the field on the linebacking blitz.
Jimmy Zorn just had nowhere to go with that pass, Sam. He couldn't even bail out to the left side where he wanted to go. He just had no place to go except to go down with it.
And a big 10-yard loss now for Seattle. McCullum, Johns, and Largent, 3 wide receiver offense for Seattle here. They need a big one. Third and about 21. And Estes Hood again becomes the 5th back for Green Bay defensively. Still go with Dornick 33 and Smith 47 behind Zorn. But there's little doubt as to what he has in mind here. Throws it out. Caught by Dornick. Tried to stop and turn back, and he fell down right there. And they'll be way shy of a first down. Anderson had the coverage, and that time he stayed with Dan.
An interesting thing here, Sam, is that these teams, Seattle, for example, is used to playing on AstroTurf. And on AstroTurf, you could have made that move. The field is in excellent condition, but it is a grass field, and they're not used to playing on grass.
Well, Herrera is on, and if he makes the attempt, it'll be a dandy. It's going to be an attempt of about 54 yards. He is 5 out of 9 this year, 0 for 1, over 50 yards.
How many passes has he caught?
He's capable of anything back there, but he's going to kick it. Out of a Zorn hold, he's got the leg, and it's good. Efren Herrera, twisted knee and all, has just hit a 54-yard field goal. That'll have the media scratching for the record book, won't it?
Incredible, yes.
And he breaks a 21 all-time. Look at this. Efren Herrera has just kicked the longest field goal in his National Football League career. Previously, 52 yards was the longest against Washington back in 1977. But he has just booted a 54-yarder to give Seattle a 24-21 lead. How about that with a twisted knee and all?
That thing just barely cleared the goalpost.
Jordell Middleton back in single safety for the Packers now, and this crowd is stunned. Onside kick, and the Packers have recovered the ball. Cliff Lewis, number 56, is the man who fell on the ball. He's a rookie out of southern Mississippi. Not a bad call by Patera.
I disagree with you. I don't think it was a good call because I think they just had the momentum, and a play like that can really kill you, Sam. They just took the lead on a great effort by Herrera. And Patera, I don't think he likes it either. Well, look at this onside here.
Yep.
Look at the field position there that Green Bay is going to come up inside the 50-yard line.
And it's funny that I feel that way because I said earlier I was critical of Bart Starr for trying to, but I don't think Starr's gamble is the same kind of gamble.
That's probably true.
I don't think it's the same kind of thing. On the sweep of Ellis, and again, Seattle strings it out, and down he goes to the 48-yard line. May have lost a yard. Michael Jackson, the left side linebacker, 55, is the man who made the stop. This one was truly the element of surprise. Green Bay down a little bit, having given up the go-ahead field goal, hit him with the onside kick and try to capitalize on it. But then again, I guess, you know, that's why we're in the booth. But
that's right.
It certainly is fun to speculate, isn't it?
It certainly is.
I can't lose my job, I don't think, over a coaching decision, but there are two guys down on the field who could. There's another score. San Francisco has defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 17-14. Walt Easley ran 2 yards for a touchdown with 5.5 minutes to play, and they beat the Steelers. Here's a pitch to Ellis out in the flat. He couldn't hold on to the ball. But he is a great football player. Drafted 7th by the LA Rams back in 1980. Came to this ball club as a free agent. Let's look at it again.
This is our matchup of the day with Jacob Green right here going around. I'll tell you, they're having a heck of a game. I think that Terry Ewart, our director and producer, Lou Renoni, picked out some great matchups. Right there is a great one. That's a draw.
That's a draw. Right. 3rd down and 11. Let's get back to the football game here with Terry Justin, the nickel back. The 5th defensive back against 3 wide receivers. Good pressure on Whiter. Releases over the head of the intended receiver. Paul Kaufman, and now the Bluebirds start. We'll see a few bags go back on heads again, I imagine. Boy, they are fickle, aren't they?
Well, that's what happens when you're continually winning and losing.
Whitehurst, I think, has been an excellent quarterback today.
He has had a great day.
Paul Johns back to receive this punt. Ooh, they got problems. Too many. Yep, flag goes down. Oh, they throw to Kaufman for the first down. To the 25-yard line. No, I don't know if it was 12 men on the field. I think he was illegally in motion.
He might have been illegally in motion, although they might have called. Green Bay, again, is pointing over at Seattle, and the referee has kept the ball in its spot.
It's against Seattle. Green Bay will have the first down. I think Green Bay wanted to make it look like they were trying to get a 12th man off the field. Had Kaufman in motion, and now that is a great gamble by Starr.
I knew you were going to say that.
I love that gamble. I hate the reverse, but I love the gamble. I love that little play.
We're having a referees conference here. They have to decide on this play. They really, I'll tell you, they will really go over thoroughly, and you have to give them a lot of credit as they go over the different options on a play. Look at Jack Patera. He knows that there was something wrong with that play.
Yeah, he doesn't, I don't know if he quite knows what it is, but he's not happy about it. I had a feeling if they were going to call anything against Green Bay, it might have been a legal procedure. Kaufman may have turned upfield a little before the snap. And if we get a chance to look at it again, although I think probably Kaufman would be out of our picture, wouldn't he?
He certainly would. This is a very controversial call because there is a technicality that you cannot try to make a defensive team do something wrong, as is witnessed by like a quarterback trying to cause them to jump offside.
Deceiving, something deceptive.
Yeah, deception. And I think it was legal. I think John Jefferson's sticking his ear in here to listen to see whether it's legal. I believe it was legal. I think it was a heck of a play.
Well, obviously, they're going to talk this one over and make sure they come up with the right decision. Jefferson tried to have a zebra shirt, and they keep pulling him out of there.
Yeah, they don't want him to say anything. You can see the referees talking it over. They don't want Jefferson adding anything that And I believe now they've decided to bring it back.
Oh, my goodness.
It could be the deception thing.
Well, whatever it is, we're all waiting with bated breath for an announcement from Chuck Heberling, and he has called for the football back in the line of scrimmage.
There's a great football mind right there going over the play. Bart Starr led this team here to many, many championships.
Now they're going to walk off 5 yards against Green Bay, and here's the decision.
It's an illegal formation. Offense. All men were not set for 1 second. Fourth down.
Well, I don't know, David.
Well, that beat my decision, but that was theirs.
I could have handled a legal procedure a lot better than that.
I certainly could have.
So Stakowicz now will have to punt it away, presumably, back at his own 33-yard line. 4:49 to go when all this happened, and we still have the same time remaining in the third quarter. The Packers down by 3, 24-21. Near sideline, Johns comes over and goes out of bounds. And I think he got that one just inside the 20-yard line. Let's see where they spot it. They're walking up to the 19, and that's where it will be. So, much to the dismay of the Green Bay partisans, Seattle he has not punted particularly well today at all. He's averaged 32.7 on 3 punts, and has not exactly helped the Packers' field position here at all. He could have, with a good punt, pinned Seattle inside the 10, but as it is, they'll go to work at their own 19-yard line. Already leading 24-21, and the crowd is still unhappy. Fake punt. They pulled it off nicely on a pass to Kaufman, but it was brought back. Dorning 33 and Brown 30. The setbacks behind Jimmy Zorn. Brown on the sweep. Gets a block. 20, 25, and out of bounds. Mike McCoy is a man who ran him out, and I think Dornick gave him the lead block up there and enabled him to pick up 6 or 7 yards on the carry. 4:35 to go, third quarter, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Weather has held up magnificently today. Got some finals for you. Cincinnati took the measure of Houston. They remain in first place in the AFC West. In fact, they're all alone now. Atlanta bombed New Orleans 41-10 at the Superdome. Give you some more in a moment. Jim Jodat in the backfield. Takes a handoff from Zorn. 30 to the 33-yard line. First down, Seattle. Let's go back to the scoreboard again. And now it's final. Buffalo has beaten the Cleveland Browns 22-13. Joe Ferguson, 3 touchdown passes in the ballgame. And the Bills beat the Browns by 9. One other final, Pittsburgh losing to San Francisco today, 17-14. 49ers, the amazing team in the league this year, right, David?
Yes, Joe Montana.
7-2.
They've got a great coach there in Bill Walsh. Excellent offensive line.
Quality owner, Eddie DeBartolo Jr., too. And Zorn doesn't like something he sees and calls a timeout. He did that in the first quarter when only 3 minutes had elapsed. So while Zorn goes over to the sideline to talk with his head coach, Jack Patera, let's take a break. 24-21. The Seahawks have it. It'll be first down when we come back to Green Bay. You talk about your Jekyll and Hyde football teams. Look at that one. The Jets have beaten the Giants 26-7 after losing to Seattle at home last Sunday 19-3. David, they are the mystery team in football, I think.
They are. They've got great personnel, but they just can't seem to put it together week after week.
Although I imagine if you're a Giant fan, you figure the Giants are the Jekyll and Hyde team. They go down to Atlanta, beat Atlanta, come home, and get bumped off by the Jets. Well, I guess it's typical of the National Football League. Here it's 24 Seattle, 21 Green Bay. First down and 10 for the Seahawks at their own 33-yard line with Brown and Dornick in the backfield. Otis Brown moving inexorably toward another 100-yard rushing afternoon. He's at 80 yards. And that pass is intercepted by the Packers, I believe. No. They say he trapped the ball. John Anderson made a pretty good effort, didn't he? Flag is down in the backfield.
They've got another holding call.
They've got a tripping call, I believe, against Seattle, not holding.
Yes. 77 broke clear to get in there and put pressure on Zorn, and of course that's Mike Butler, and he got tripped up by Steve August.
3:44 to go in the third quarter. Green Bay, a 2-6 football club, trying to build its confidence, get itself back in gear again with a backup quarterback David Whitehurst.
Number 76, tripping, offense, first down.
Well, I guess if you're going to do it well.
Well, in Oakland, when I played there, they never minded holding calls because they always felt they could come back from them. And we had some classic holders there.
I bet they did. First down at 20 now for Zorn, back at his own 24-yard line. Jodat and Brown, the setbacks behind him. That's Sam McCullum in motion. And the sprint draw. Brown to the 30-yard line. Okay, from Green Bay, let's go to NBC New York. Byron Day has an update on another football game today. Byron. From the 30-yard line, the Seattle Seahawks now with a 2nd down and 14. That sprint draw has been their trademark through the years. Sherman Smith worked it to perfection for a number of seasons. Now Theodis Brown having his chance to work out of the tailback slot. Sam Nover and Dave Rowe in Green Bay, Wisconsin. 24-21, the Seahawks over the Packers. Zorn throws it out in the flat behind his intended receiver, Jodat. And he had a man downfield who was 10 yards on the open, Steve Rabel.
Boy, was he ever open. If Zorn had looked this side, he was at least 10 yards open.
How do you feel about quarterbacks not having much of an option to make their own play calls?
Well, it's an interesting thing because they feel that the coaches, of course, can see a much better view from the field as to what defense they are. But it's an interesting concept whether to call your players or whether to allow the coach to call them.
2:57 to go, third quarter. Sam Nover and Dave Rowe in Green Bay. The Packers in Seattle. A couple of 2-6 teams apparently going nowhere, playing their hearts out today. Zorn trying to set up a screen. Incomplete out in the flat. Ezra Johnson is the man who made it very difficult for Zorn to get it going. Drove him all the way back 15 yards off the line of scrimmage, and they never got it together on that play.
They certainly didn't. Jim Jodat came out of the backfield, ran to the other side. He assumed that was a screen to the right, and there was nothing but linemen out there trying to catch that screen.
So on 4th down, Ron Cassidy goes back to receive the punt from Jeff West. High punt by West. Cassidy, the fair catch at the 35-yard line, and he almost fumbled the ball. He did earlier in the ball game. Gives you heart failure, doesn't he? "34 yards on the punt by West. No return, but almost a fumble. So with 2:45 to go in the third, a football game that started out offensively, we now have a rather titanic defensive struggle, only 33 points having been scored here in the third quarter.
That's what the coaches do at halftime, Sam. They went in there, they've made some defensive adjustments, and then each team has shut down the other team. So it makes it even a more interesting game.
Gary Ellis, 31, and Turdell Middleton, 34, will be the setbacks here. When the Packers get it going, they have good field position at their own 34-yard line. David, as you can see, is in shadows. Does that create any problems for a player looking back at a pass coming out of the sun into the shadow area?
It certainly does. You can see the shadows are long across the field, so the sun is just barely over the edge of the stadium. But the field is in excellent condition. This field is a well-kept field, and the footing is really good for this time of the year.
56,191 in attendance. They've had 21 years of sellouts here in Green Bay. It's an age-old story, but true. 9,000 on the waiting list, and the pass out in the flat is incomplete, but flags are down all over the place. Whitehurst tried to get it to Ellis. Seattle defensed it perfectly, and flags were down before they really ever got started. Offsides, Seattle. So Green Bay will get a break here and 5-yard walk-off. Game has bogged down just a little bit, hasn't it?
It certainly has. That's your neighbor right there, huh, Sam?
That's 2 blocks from me, Mr. Heverling lives. We'll probably fly back to Pittsburgh together
Offside,
tonight.
defense, number 74, first down.
Although after the Steelers lose to Green Bay, I don't know if we want to go home. I mean to San Francisco, I beg your pardon. First down and 5 now for the Packers. Whitehurst, Ellis, way over the 45-yard line. He is a very impressive football player, and when the Packers get Eddie Lee Ivory back and go with him in the backfield, they're going to have a running attack that'll be as good as anyone in the league, I think.
They certainly will. Gary Ellis has really been a find for them. He's played really good football.
First down now for the Packers at their own 46-yard line. Try to get back in the football game, down by only 3. But they have not been able to muster much of an offense here in the third quarter. Lofton wide to the left. I believe he's caught 2 passes today. John Jefferson has caught but 1. 3 for Lofton it is unofficially. Whitehurst has a man open. Kaufman dropped the ball. Michael Jackson was on his back, but it was perfectly thrown by Whitehurst.
He certainly should have had that ball. The thing that's really important is that Green Bay does not panic being down 3 points. As we go back to our matchup here, of course, Jacob Green and Greg Cook, we've highlighted on them several times. One thing that Cook is doing really quickly is he's attacking Green and not allowing Green to utilize his speed. And that's what's really been his strong point, is the speed that Jacob Green has.
Give me a mark on that one.
A mark on that one? Draw.
A lot of draws in there, David. Minute 56 to go, third quarter, second down and 10 now. Whitehurst has gone all the way for Lynn Dickey at quarterback. Pressure, throws it out here into the sun. Good catch by Kaufman, first down. At the 40-yard line of Seattle, he had to look right back into the sun. And it was the same play they ran on the previous play, but just to the opposite side.
It certainly was, and he did. He made up for that last catch because he caught a more difficult pass, as you said, into the sun, gets them down into territory where they're coming up for another score.
He is second in the NFC in receptions, Paul Kaufman, which ain't bad.
No,
Joe Sensor in Minnesota in terms of catches.
He's got an interesting average, too. It's almost 14 yards a catch, and that's good for a tight end to get that far downfield.
High formation. Curdell Middleton sticks his head in, gets maybe 2-3 yards. Stopped by the center of the Seattle defense, Joe Norman, as well as Mike White, number 70. We haven't heard anything further on Robert Hardy, who went out with an ankle sprain early in the ball game, but White, I presume, was playing fairly well in there in his place.
He certainly is. He's having some big shoes to fill. Heartburn, Robert Hardy. They say he gives the opposition heartburn all the time. I'm surprised that Whitehurst hasn't gone to Jefferson. Jefferson has really got the speed, and he's doing really well against his man.
Who's getting the double team most of the time? You've been able to observe?
Well, they play mostly man-to-man coverage.
Second down and 8. Whitehurst stepping up in the pocket, all alone. It's Lofton. 30, 25. Look at it, turn the speed on. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Green Bay. Catch number 2 on the day for James Lofton.
John Jefferson didn't catch this pass. Of course, it was the other Lofton, but let me tell you that John Jefferson made the key block on this play as we watch Lofton go downfield. Well, we have to watch the extra point first, but he really threw a great block.
Maybe when we get back, we can take a look at it again. Jefferson threw a great block on Lofton's 75-yarder last week, and he did it again today. 3 is all it took. And as David pointed out, John Jefferson throwing a key block to spring him for the final 25 yards.
Certainly did. He really threw a great block, and that's a sign of a great receiver, and John Jefferson certainly is one. Very, very unselfish, Sam.
Will Lewis, 41, and Paul Johns, 85 in the deep receiving spots. It's the kind of football game it's been all afternoon. Back and forth from the first touchdown and a pass interception by John Harris when Seattle leaped out 7-0. It has been going back and forth. Packers lead it now 28-24. At the 9-yard line, John to the 25, and he dives to the 28. So Jimmy Zorn and company come on again, trying to get Seattle back into the lead. Whitaker is again the man who made the stop. He made a key fumble recovery early in the ball game. 52 seconds is all that remains in the third quarter.
Well, for people who like offensive football, this has been a great game. I'm telling you, I'm sitting up here excited just watching it, and I know what it's like being down on that field.
Dorning, 33, is the up back. Theodis Brown is the deep back. Guy Prather, 51, now replaces John Anderson at the left linebacking spot for Green Bay. And that hole closed very quickly, did it not? Brown for maybe a yard, but the Packers now pitching down.
They certainly are. They're tightening down right now. They know if they can get the ball back to David Whitehurst, that they've got a chance to get another score. Of course, Seattle knows that they've always got Steve Largent, Jim Zorn, and several other key players. They can score any time on this football.
Largent with only 2 catches today. He has gone 11 straight games with catching at least 4 passes, which is a remarkable record. But he's only got 2 of them today. Anderson's back in there on 2nd down and 9. Wingo faking the blitz. And Zorn straight ahead. Couple of yards, and that's all. Dornick, the lone setback. Time will expire here in the 3rd quarter as Mike Butler made the stop. And now as they change ends of the field, Jimmy Zorn's got a tough decision. 3rd down and 7 at his own 32-yard line. At the end of the 3rd quarter, the score, the Green Bay Packers 28, the Seattle Seahawks 24. Minutes to play in this one, in regulation time anyway. 28-24. The Green Bay Packers leading Seattle. Sam Nover and Dave Rowe in Green Bay, Wisconsin. 3rd down and 7 now for Seattle. Sherman Smith into the backfield along with Dan Dornick. And the Pack goes with 5 defensive backs. Estes Hood is the 5th man. Going back to pass. Steps up in the pocket. Throws it over the middle. Intended, I believe, for Sherman Smith out of the backfield. Mike Douglas had the coverage, 53. But the pass didn't seem to be really near anybody.
It certainly wasn't. Green Bay has risen to the occasion here and stopped Seattle. Now it's going to be a real test against Seattle. They're going to have to stop them probably outside the 30-yard line. They're going to have to stop them if they want to get back in this ball game and get a score.
Jeff West again kicking to Ron Cassidy, who's been a bundle of thrills every time he's tried to catch it, hasn't he? Couple of fair catches, bobbled one, almost lost the other. See what he does with this one. Good kick by West. And he'll have a chance to run it back. He looks to make the fair catch at the 29-yard line. And I'm just wondering if he hasn't been sent in with instructions to do exactly that, David.
Well, when you bobble him like that, the best thing to do is throw that hand up and have a chance for that fair catch, because it takes the pressure off of getting hit. And he's bobbled them. Like you said, he's bobbled a couple of them.
39 yards, no return. So pretty good net there for Jeff West. And as Dave Rowe pointed out, the Seattle Seahawks now will really have to put their nose to the grindstone and play some defense. Next Sunday, we invite you to join our host, Bryant Gumbel, for NFL 81, all the highlight scores, late-breaking news from all the games. Then an NFL doubleheader featuring 3 key matchups: Oakland against Houston, Cincinnati versus San Diego, Cleveland versus Denver. Check your local listings for the games and times in your area next Sunday on NFL 81 right here on NBC.
Won't that Cincinnati-San Diego game be a great one next week?
May score 100 points.
They may score 100 points, right.
This, of course, David, being an NFC city, we don't get a chance to come to Green Bay all that often. But let me speak on behalf of our crew. These are lovely people here.
Oh, beautiful.
And they have gone out of their way to make as hospitable a stay for us as possible, and we thoroughly enjoy it. Lovely little town.
They even fixed the weather for us, Sam. How can you beat this weather in Green Bay? They told me it was like summer around here. I did a game here last year, and it was 4 degrees. So I appreciate their hospitality.
Stick with me, Ro. I'll only make you come to Green Bay when it's 60 and sunny. How's that?
Beautiful.
Packers lead it by 4. They have the ball at their own 29-yard line, and they send Lofton wide left to Jefferson to the right. Jardell Middleton is in the backfield with Gary Ellis. Ellis over 100 yards already, and he is some back. That's him with the ball. Picking up a couple to the 33. Mike White is the man that made the stop. I think that was grammatically incorrect. That is he with the ball. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's
School
correct.
teachers in the audience would like to put a ruler on my knuckles.
You know, all day long they've run a lot of plays away from Jacob Green. And of course, that's a great tribute to him as we watch Jacob Green run across the field. Of course, there's no score on that one, but you can see the 5-4 and 4 draws right there.
At one point, Cook had a decisive advantage. Green coming back at him. Gain of 4, 2nd down and 6. Middleton goes in motion. And Whitehurst rolls to the right. Has a man wide open. Complete for the first down to Kaufman at the 41-yard line. Heath Simpson came in to make the tackle, the 4-year veteran out of Memphis State. This secondary of Seattle has 3 first-round draft choices.
Surprising, they're rolling this time towards Green's side right here. He's got to get out and just merely force the play and not get cut off. I'm going to give him the point for that play because it's a good play. A roll towards your side. You know, an interesting thing is that Whitehurst lost his position to Dickey, and now he's come back and taken over Dickey's position. It's really quite a matchup there.
First down for the Packers at their 41. Good move in the middle by Middleton, getting 3 or 4 yards out of it. He put a move in the center there to get a couple of yards. They looked like they had stuffed the play at the line of scrimmage. Mike White again making the stop. So give him a gain of 4. It'll be second down at 6. And the Packers now working on the clock with 13:13 to go in regulation time. Seattle had been very pleased with the pass rush the defensive front had been giving them up to this game. I don't think they sacked Whitehurst today, have they?
They certainly haven't.
Ellis now around the outside. 1 sack for the front of the Seattle Seahawks. They had 19 coming into the ball game. Twice as many as they had at this point last year. They had only 10.
And Green Bay had given up, in turn, they had given up something like 32 or 33 sacks. And they had headed the opposite direction, and they've answered the call on offense, too.
You're absolutely right. They had given up 32 sacks in 8 games, an average of 4 a game, and they've only allowed 1 today. And perhaps that's why they're clinging to a 4-point lead.
That's not a statistic you want to lead in the NFL.
That's for sure. Third down and 4 for Green Bay to keep the football. Whitehurst pitches it to Ellis. Trying to fight for the first down yardage. I don't think he got it. Kenny Easley ran him out. The only man to make the All Pac-10 All-Star team all 4 years that he was at UCLA. Kenny Easley.
As we listen to the fans here yelling, go for it, be a very foolish move on Bart Starr. Fans, as you said, are very fickle. They want you to go for it on the 50-yard line, but then all of a sudden, if you don't make it, then they go, hey, you're getting paid to make decisions, and you made a bad decision.
Now, there is no question here. 12:05, too much time left in this one. Stakowicz back at his 35-yard line, kicking to Paul Johns. Haven't had a good return in this ball game, really one of note. And with all the scoring, you'd think we might have had somebody break one. Maybe Johns can rip off a biggie here. Stakowicz, good high punt. Johns will have a chance at his 10. Looking for a block. 15. Not a bad return. At the 18-yard line, Paul Johns, living dangerously, brought it back to the 18-yard line. So the Seahawks down by 4, have a chance to move. Dave Rowe back in Green Bay. If you couldn't tell by looking, he's the football player. I'm just the announcer. Not a bad one when you play.
Oh, this has been a fabulous football game. Anybody who loves football will love this game.
28-24. Packers lead the Seahawks. Go back to work. Seattle does. 18-yard line of Seattle. Throwing with a little play action. Looking downfield, trying to get it to Largent. It's tipped away very nicely. Mike McCoy leaping high in the air to tip the ball away from Largent. And it is a rare football game indeed when Steve Largent has only 2 catches going into the 4th quarter. Well, that's the kind of game it's been today. Zorn has found a new receiver, 2 touchdown passes to his running back Dorning. And that really has been the clutch offense that they've needed.
Well, the man-to-man coverage here just doesn't allow Largent to even come close to the ball. Look at that defensive play right there. You cannot play any better football than that right there.
And the Packer fans now trying to get their defense riled up. 11:49 to go here in regulation time. Zorn on 2nd and 10. Going back to pass again. They've gone away from their running game. Throws it over the middle. Intercepted by the Packers. McCoy at the 25-yard line. And they really trapped the football.
Oh, will that bring out the booze this time? They were upset about that other play, that controversial play. They'll certainly be upset about this.
Well, we're really in no position to see it unless a camera angle's got it, because we're sitting in here behind McCoy.
Well, we've got such excellent people down there in the truck, and you can see right here. You'll watch the play all the way. Zorn's coming out to the flat right here on the pass. It's not a well-thrown ball, but you can see that right. No, it didn't look like it. I think evidently he trapped it before. It touched the ground.
It touched the ground as he grabbed it. Right. 3rd down and 10 now for Zorn. 3 wide receivers, McCullum, Johns, and Largent. And the 5th defensive back, Estes Hood for the Packers. Zorn staying in there, throws it behind McCullum. He had him open in the seam of the zone. So for the 5th time today, Jeff West back near his own goal line to do the punting. And the Packers should have excellent field position. Ron Cassidy is a deep man. And the rush on West, he gets his punt away. Cassidy lets it bounce. Packers get away from the ball and hit a Seahawk at the 40-yard line. It rolled down to the 32, but I believe it hit a Seahawk back in the 40. And yes, that's exactly where they're going to mark the ball. You're right about the officials, David. They don't miss much out there. So the Packers have good field position following the 42-yard punt by Jeff West. We'll return to Green Bay with that score right after this.
Well, not only do the officials have great eyes, but you can see the ball hits right there on the knee. The inadvertent hit right there, and that's where they marked it. Not only do the officials have good eyes, Sam, you had great eyes to pick that out.
That was Don Dufek, who's just a great special teams player. As you look on the sidelines, number 17 is Dave Craig warming up.
Wouldn't he like to get in?
Oh, isn't that a surprise? He's not even their number 2 quarterback. Ellis for a couple of tough yards through the middle to the 44-yard line. Sam Atkins is their backup quarterback. Now, I don't know whether Craig is just throwing to have fun because Zorn hasn't played all that badly. I mean, unless he got hurt in the last series.
Well, I don't think it's a question of being hurt, but I know everybody here, anybody who buys, 68
tickets,
he deserves to warm up on the sidelines.
Huckleby in the backfield with Ellis. 2nd down now and 7 for Green Bay, trying to protect a 28-24 lead. The clock is not a factor as yet, but it will be soon. David Whitehurst has gone all the way at quarterback for the Packers, and he's down. Good pass rush by Mike White, number 70. 2nd sack of the day for Seattle. Tuiasa Sopo was also there.
That was a great pass rush there by White. As we watch him come off the ball, he'll be on the left side of your screen. You can watch he does a pass-over move right here. He passes over, breaks the seam, and you can see him getting penetration right there. Tuiasa Sopo coming from the outside. That was an excellent pass rush. And he, again, has had to fill those shoes of course, the Mr. Hartburn Hardy. Yes, Hartburn Hardy.
Hartburn Hardy. So David Whitehurst now with 3rd down and 17. 4th quarter has not been kind to either of these teams in 1981. Whitehurst, the man over the middle. Jumping John Jefferson. Way shy of the 1st down. They'll give Jefferson that catch all day long, won't they, Dave?
They certainly will. I've played football a long time, and I know you've announced a long time, but I don't know if I've ever seen a more exciting player than John Jefferson. As we watch the pass here, David Whitehurst picks John Jefferson coming from our right to the left as we look at it, come across the field right here, and this fellow can score anywhere. He has made some catches that I've never seen made in football. Quite a receiver.
Ray Stakowicz back to punt for the 5th time today. He'll be kicking to Paul Johns, number 85. So it really has been a grudge battle in the 2nd half. Nobody willing to give much. Packers have outscored the Seahawks 7-3 in this half after they both put 21 points on the board in the 1st half. Johns will have a fly at it from his 17-yard line. There's no blocking there, but he got it all on his own to the 24. Not a bad return. Play as they wrestle the ball loose. Are they giving it to Green Bay?
They may. We got 2 people.
Seattle says they still have the football. And I'm waiting for an official signal from Chuck Hemmerling, who's lost in that crowd.
Well, again, we're going to have the referees have the discretion to come out of the pile and make a decision. You'll see another referee keep all players away as they talk over whether the ball was dead, who had the best view, and I really think that's a real tribute.
Well, the man you're looking at, Whitaker, is the guy who recovered a fumble earlier in the ball game. Let's see whether or not we can see if he got it.
Let's see what happens here. He changes field. Now, these are 2 of the best coverage teams in football right here. Gets hit. Now, if that ball touches the ground, it's dead. No, it did not. There's the ball. What camera work right there. There's the ball pulled out, and they should give that ball to Green Bay.
Oh, back that up, Louie. That is magnificent. You can see Whitaker take the ball right out of his arm.
Certainly should. That should be Green Bay's ball.
Well, they've given it to Seattle. Now, the only question would be whether or not Johns had part of his knee touching the ground when the ball was wrestled away from him or not. There have been some controversial calls in this game, to say the least.
got some help. But on that play, there's another aspect that has to be mentioned, Sam. If, in the opinion of the referees, he had stopped his momentum, then it's a dead ball, regardless of whether his knee touches. And if they did not see it, of course, it's misinformation, of course. But if they feel he had stopped his momentum, then it was a judgment call, and it was a fair judgment.
So the rookie, actually, he's a second-year man, David Craig, out of Milton College in Wisconsin, 6'1", 185 pounds. We have received no word about Jimmy Zorn at all.
Well, many times in a situation like this, a coach will bring in a young quarterback just to see if he can kind of kick up some information, just kick up some life into a team. Zorn looks fine on the sidelines. We see him standing there, and he's a great competitor, too.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I can't wait to get on a plane out of Green Bay back to Chicago with Chuck Heberling tonight, the referee. I want to know all about these things. He has had a couple of calls to make that are hair-raising, to say the least. Well, our report is there is nothing wrong with Jimmy Zorn. Jack Patera has elected to go to his third-string quarterback, David Craig. We told you about him earlier in the game, and the crowd will not let the game continue. Listen to this noise.
They also have to realize that there is a penalty for this, and they certainly don't need that right now.
They haven't even started the 30-second clock.
John Jefferson was down here on the sideline leading the cheers. I don't know if that's really, I think he was leading cheers rather than boos. But you got to give that young fella right there, number 17, Craig, a lot of credit because he's coming in a tough situation right here.
Now the Packer fans are reacting to some of the players on the field who are applauding. Wingo was clapping himself as if to say, go ahead, keep it up. Usually the defense asks for the home team, partisans, to stop it, you know. Well, maybe the Packers need this for their confidence, David. There's been some question whether or not the fans have been behind them at all.
Well, they certainly are behind them today, as evidenced in your pregame talk, and our pregame talk, I should say. They came out here. This stand was filled an hour early. I thought the game started an hour early.
Thought you were late, didn't you?
Yeah, I surely did.
Even along the sidelines, and Chuck Heberling is the object of all of the hoopla. And his crew, they're not happy with the last call. This crowd is up in arms. I think any moment now the people on the field would like to play some football, wouldn't they?
They certainly would.
Now Wingo's got his hands up in the air asking for a little bit of silence. David Craig. Only thrown the ball 9 times this year, having completed 5. Second-year free agent quarterback.
An interesting thing right there. Chuck Heberling kept them up at the line. He's not allowing them to go back into a huddle, and that's an interesting thing because as you stand up there, not only are you thinking about all that you have to do, but it really takes away the coordination of the play, the timing of the play. If they can get one play off, of course, it'll quiet them down, but this crowd hasn't had a lot to back their team for, and evidently they want to back them. That's one fine gentleman there, Chuck Heberling. I remember when I played, he was, what a class fellow.
Well, he is, David, and I think, as you pointed out so appropriately earlier in the ball game, replays have proven for time immemorial that officials make the right call 98-99% of the time. And even our replay would have indicated Whitaker had the ball stripped from Johns. We don't know what the rest of Johns' body is doing. If he's got a knee on the ground,
or if his momentum has stopped,
then the play is dead.
I don't think you can play football, in all honesty. I don't think you can play football with the instant replay being a factor in decisions. Referee, there's been a lot of talk over the years to use instant replays for judgment calls such as that, but I don't think you can do it, Sam. You know the continuity of the game would be lost if you tried to do it.
I couldn't agree with you more. Casey Merrill now asking the fans to cool it. Seattle has it 1st and 10 at its own 23-yard line. They trail the ball game 28-24. If this were a baseball game, I'm sure Bart Starr would have filed an official protest with the league. And Craig backs off from center again.
I I think they really should re-huddle here. I think Chuck Heberling's going to allow them to re-huddle because it's taken out the entire timing of the play. It would not be fair to Seattle.
Well, we've got the time. Let me run through some scores for you. In the second quarter, Kansas City and San Diego tied at 7. In the second quarter, New England and Oakland tied at 3. In the second quarter, Dallas leads Philadelphia 3-0. In the second quarter, Detroit leads the LA Rams 10-7. Eric Hipple to David Hill, a 15-yard touchdown pass. And in the second quarter, Washington 21 to St. Louis Cardinals, nothing. Those are the games currently in progress.
Eric Hipple had a great year so far.
He is not bad, huh?
He certainly is not.
That's the score I just told you about. Washington doing a number on St. Louis. They're playing a lot better football, the Redskins.
They certainly are. The last 3 weeks have been really great. Sam, we've just turned down our lights here, so evidently we have a delay of game here. We're going into evening.
Well, I don't mind. I can't go anywhere till 7:35, but there are a few people in the truck and on this crew who would love to have caught a 5 o'clock plane to Chicago. I'll tell you that. You could forget about it. We'll all have a nice dinner together here in Green Bay. 9:17 to go in regulation time. The Pack may not be back, but it certainly has played much better football today. Go back over the final. Cincinnati beat Houston 34-21. Jets over the Giants in the Battle of the Big Apple 26-7. They may try to run one here. One setback. Theodis Brown gets the carry. And he is going to lose 3 yards. John Anderson, the left side linebacker, shut him down. Probably, as far as Seattle's concerned, it was worth losing 2 or 3 yards just to break the silence here.
Just to prove also to get a play in. That's an important thing because you can really lose your momentum. These wide receivers are like fine-tuned machines. They've got to continually run during the game. Quarterbacks have got to continually throw. And when you have a long delay like that, it really takes its toll on you.
Here's another final. Miami beat Baltimore today 27-10. Buffalo by 9 over Cleveland. Second down and 12 now. Again, you've got David Craig at quarterback. Second-year free agent. Fumble. Brown got the right bounce on it. Right back into his lap at the 25-yard line. Again, it's John Anderson playing much better football here in the second half than he did in the first half. He was beaten on 2 touchdown passes to Dorning.
Is this what you call the right bounce right here? He takes the handoff, just loses it, and it bounces right back up into his hands. A very fortunate play for Seattle Seahawks.
David Craig played in only 1 football game last year for the Seattle Seahawks, and as I told you earlier, he's only put it up 9 times this year. Final I just told you about. How about that one? The 49ers, 7-2 on the year. They beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Third down and 9. Down he goes. Big Mike Butler, 77, and the Packers are really humming now.
The Pack might not be back yet, but the fans are back in Green Bay. Look at these fans, all the entire sellout crowd. Nobody's gone home, and they're all standing up. And watch this hit by Butler on young Craig here. He takes a whale of a shot. This is just an arm. Boom! Down he goes.
So on 4th down, Jeff West will be punting to Ron Cassidy again. Good strength. Here West, you know the pressure. Cassidy running way up for the ball, makes the fair catch and a very good one at the Seattle 49-yard line. He had to come 15 yards to make that catch, but catch it he did. So the Packers leading by 4. Now we'll go back. Left in regulation time, the Packers with superb field position at the Seattle 49-yard line and leading by 4.
Bart Starr last week made a reference to the fans in Green Bay here to back their team. They felt that that's why they lost in Detroit, because Detroit fans backed in. They are back. Look at our fans here in this stadium.
Actually, they fought the ball on the 50-yard line. Huckleby in the backfield with Ellis, and Gary gets the call for a 5 yards to the 45. White is the man who made the stop. Well, if you're a historian and you like Green Bay Packer football, or you follow it fairly closely yourself, here's a pretty good little trivia question, David. I'm going to run one by you here.
Okay, I probably played during it, but go ahead.
The Green Bay Packers have drafted quarterbacks in the first round 8 times. Can you name 5, 6, 7, perhaps all 8 of those quarterbacks that were drafted? 2 of them are pretty hard. They go back to the 40s, but the rest of them I assure you you've heard of. I'll give you the answer in a couple of minutes. Think about it. Ellis again for some very difficult yards. They'll come up 3rd down and 2. And again, let's go back to Greg Cook against Jacob Green, our matchup of the day.
I'll tell you, Greg Cook's got a great jump off the ball. Green gets a good play in here. He reacts to the play and gets in on a tackle. That's a plus for Jacob Green.
Jacob Green, he sure did. There's our score. Greg Cook leads Green by 1. We've had 4 draws in the plays that we have looked at the isolation of an offensive right tackle against the defensive left end. It's been Green and Cook. Just having some fun experimenting with something new on NBC today. 3rd down. Whitehurst over the middle. He's got Ellis. He threw it a little long for him, and a flag goes down late. A late flag after the play was over.
John Jefferson is calling for holding. They've had a hard time covering John Jefferson all day, and he's already told the sidelines that I believe they're holding on me.
And that's the call they got. Defensive holding against the Seattle Seahawks after they had held the pack on 3rd down.
An interesting thing, I was out before the game, and I saw John Jefferson come out of the locker room and shake hands with about 40 or 50 people. A very, very popular player here.
Holding, defense, number 42, 1st down.
Well, that would be Keith Simpson, the cornerback, and that's what Jefferson's been screaming about today. Pretty big play in this game with 5:52 to play, David.
I'm surprised they haven't gone to Jefferson more because he really is quite an athlete, as we've certainly said all the things you can say about him.
We've got Jefferson with 1 catch today. No, 2 catches, beg your pardon. Ellis cuts it back to the 30. Good gain on 1st down inside the 30, very close to a 1st down. Kenny easily knocked him down. And now the Packers can really work on the clock with 5:38 to go as we look at it again.
Well, watch this. Nothing more than just a power play by Gary Ellis right here. He just turns it up. He's got a good head of steam right there, and no arm tackle is going to bring him down. There's 3 people on that tackle.
Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WEAU TV 13, Eau Claire.
Sam Nover and Dave Rowe in Green Bay. On 2nd and 2, the Packers get the 1st down. Huckleby burrowing his way to the 27-yard line. If he didn't get it, he's very close to it. Whitehurst trying to take a peek now and see whether or not he got enough yardage. So while they bring the sticks in for the measurement, would you care to answer my trivia question, Mr. Rowe?
Okay, I'm going to say that it was, let's see, 1 would be Garrett, of course, and then Heath.
Who?
Well, I was handed this note right here.
You mean these aren't your own guesses? Well, Garrett is wrong, whoever he is.
Well, who is Garrett? I don't even know who he was. Somebody handed that to me.
You got bad information. Somebody set you up.
Did Terry Ewart send this thing up here?
No.
Oh, Campbell.
Well, that one's short. 3rd down.
They didn't draft Lou Ranoni, did they?
No, they didn't.
Okay.
They thought about it, though. Let me quickly give them to you. This year, of course, it was Rich Campbell out of California. Back in 72, Jerry Taggy from Nebraska. Remember him?
Certainly did.
Don Horn from San Diego State in 67. Randy Duncan out of Iowa was a 1st rounder in 59. Paul Horning was a quarterback in 57 when they drafted him in the 1st round out of Notre Dame. Vito Bay Perilli from Kentucky in 52. Stanley Heath from Nevada, 49. And Ernie Case out of UCLA in 1947. I know you remember him very well.
Oh, yeah, sure.
3rd down and inches. Big play for the Packers here with 4:45 to go in the game. Ellis, I don't know. He was very tentative going into the line. He was looking for it. I don't think the exchange between he and Whitehurst was all that good. And I don't know, Dave.
Well, it all depends which leg the official marks it with, which foot. If he marks with his right foot, of course, he's going to make it. But you were right. That hole was really stuffed up there. That was great line play by Seattle. They really stuffed the offensive line of Green Bay back, and they're going to have call for another measurement. It's going to be close.
Keith Butler was there to assist on the tackle, but they really stuffed the Packers pretty good.
I'm going to say they made it.
They didn't stuff them enough, though. By half of the football. So, the Packers, with a new set of downs, can go to work on the clock. They lead at 28-24. Under 4.5 minutes to play in regulation time. Not bad stats for Gary Ellis today. 128 yards rushing. We'll have to run to the record book and see if that's his best day ever. It may be.
In a game as exciting as this, you hate to see one team lose because they both played so well today.
And the handoff to Huckleby. 15, 10, 5. First and goal, Green Bay.
What a play by Harlan Huckleby right here. Look at the second effort on the tail end of this play. Of course, he drags the man about 8 or 9 yards, but it was just a quick fold in the center, a quick trap, and he was right into the secondary immediately. And that's what you can't do. As we said, Seattle's been able to string him out, but they didn't on that one.
22 yards on the jaunt by Harlan Huckleby. First down and goal to go. The Packers may have a chance to ice it. Not on that play. Ellis lost a yard. And you know what Seattle's thinking. We'll gladly give them the 3, but we do not want to give them the touchdown here. Because with the 3 points, the Seahawks can come back and force overtime.
They certainly can. And that's what they're trying to do right now. They're saying, give up anything you want, but don't give up the touchdown. And that defensive unit's going to rise to the occasion. I can just feel it. I mean, they just look like they're getting together. They're all in there. They've got a lot of motion, enthusiasm. And they feel like they can do it.
Second down and goal from the 6-yard line. Ellis lost a yard on the carry. Lofton goes wide left and Jefferson to the right. They've got single coverage on Jefferson out here on the right side. Whiter's quarterback draw to the 2. That's that gutty quarterback you talked about earlier, David.
It certainly is. He took a lesson from Jim Zorn, who tried it in the exact same position. The quarterback draw. Immediately the secondary drops off. He takes about 4 steps back, fakes the pass. You can see the secondary dropping off, and then all of a sudden it's just try to find a seam and sprint. Look at him putting his head down there for that effort.
They got a double tight end now. Tim Stokes, Gary Lewis both come on. They've got all the blocking up front. Third down and goal to go. They're about 1.5 yards away. You don't think this is a big play with 2:10 to go in the game? No, Huckleby did not make it. Lost a yard. Fourth down with 2:06 to play, and give Seattle credit. What a great defensive stand.
What would you do right now, Sam?
Take the 3. You've got to ensure the 7-point lead.
Art Starr hasn't called for his field goal team yet.
Now they start the clock rolling again. They'll go down to the 2-minute warning, so Starr will have all the time he needs to talk about it.
I believe he is going to send in his field goal team, but it's quite a decision, as you said, Sam. He's got to take the 3 points.
Well, we've reached the 2-minute warning. David Whitehurst has come over to the sideline. The Green Bay Packers 28, the Seattle Seahawks 24. What a finish. Now here comes another one of those fantastic finishes. Set out his field goal team. Jan Stenerud, who's having one of his great years in an already remarkable career. 295 career field goals. He is 13 out of 15 this year. Placement from the 10-yard line. The kick is up, and it is good. A 20-yard field goal by Jan Stenerud. And the Green Bay Packers now have a 7-point lead at 31-24. The executive producer of NBC's football is Don Ohlmeyer. Coordinating producer Ted Nathanson. Telecast of today's game was produced by Terry Ewert and directed by Lou Ranoni. Our technical director, Bruce Berquist, and our associate director, Bill Goldman. People are making this all possible. What a football game. 31-24, the Packers. Minute 58 to play, and Seattle will have one crack at sending this game in overtime. From the 12-yard line. John's trying to get outside, trips and falls at the 27. And so Seattle goes to work from its own 27-yard line. And let's see whether it's Jim Zorn or David Craig.
Well, they've got a big decision here to make.
It's Craig.
It is Craig. You're right.
I don't understand this. Our report is that nothing is wrong with Jim Zorn. He did not play the last offensive series for Seattle, and he is not out there in this one.
And no disrespect to Craig, but I would rather see Jim Zorn in this position if I was Seattle, because he's been in this position before.
Well, let's see what they do. Craig's got no fewer than 66 friends and relatives here today. That's how many tickets he bought for this ballgame. They got to go 74 yards. Craig rolling right. Throws it downfield. He's got a man open. Largent at the 45-yard line and out of bounds, stopping the clock. The coverage by Mark Lee, but he wasn't within 5 yards of Largent.
I may have to eat my words, but I'll tell you, this was a gutty play right here. This young fella came out here, rolled out strong side, and they kicked him inside. They got no pressure on him, but he threw a perfect strike right there to Largent. And look at Largent toe dancing on the sideline. What a receiver.
So the Seahawks now have it 1st and 10 at their own 44-yard line with 1:47 to go. They wasted a timeout earlier, as you remember. They've got but 2 left. Sherman Smith, the lone setback. Craig now. The rush is on. Throws one into the ground. He had an intended receiver, Dornick, over there. They have set their offense many times today, David, with one setback, and they have slotted their up back. So, in effect, they've only got one running back in a position, but they have used Dornick in a slot.
Well, they certainly have to be passing right now, and they're going to bring in, I would be surprised if they brought in all wide receivers, because they've got to get the ball out there, and they've got to be able to complete those 10 to 15-yard passes to get down the field to get a position to pass. To go for the score. So it's going to be put a lot of pressure on that young quarterback.
Well, the crowd here has become a little tentative here. They don't know quite what to do. They'd like to cheer their defense on, but the Hawks now at the 44-yard line have it 2nd down and 10. 31-24 Green Bay. Been a great football game. Craig, intercepted by Wingo. 40-35. He's got an escort out of bounds at the 20, and that should do it.
Interceptions you'll ever see. And look at the enthusiasm on the sideline by those guys. He came on to throw that ball in the stands. As we watch Craig here come back, he really didn't quite get the hand on this ball. The ball floated on him, and he really didn't deliver it where he wanted to go. See the ball end over end? And look at that one-hand stab right there by Wingo. And he knows what to do with it. He turns upfield. And watch the escort here. He's got about 5 or 6 guys. Everybody wants to get a block on this because they know it'll look good on Monday when they review the film.
Second-year man out of Alabama. His first interception of the year, and what a big one it is. Rich Wingo, and we heard all about these 4 young linebackers before we came to Green Bay, and they have lived up to their advanced billing. Mike Douglas, George Cumby, Rich Wingo, and John Anderson got a pretty good number today for the Packers.
Well, they're 4 no-names, really. I mean, you hate to say that about football players because they're excellent athletes and they're great college players, but they're not 4 of the most well-known names. But yet John Myers, their coach, said he wouldn't trade any of them.
Have a penalty against the Packers here. Back to the 23-yard line. Minute 30 to go in regulation time. Green Bay leading 31-24. Bart Starr, I'm sure a big sigh of relief when Wingo picked that one off.
Certainly is. He's been under a lot of pressure here in Green Bay.
Seattle can stop the clock but twice. Whitehurst has gone all the way at quarterback. Gives to big Jim Jensen to the 30, or to the 20 rather, inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. Unofficially, we have Whitehurst with 19 completions and 31 attempts today for 205 yards, and Seattle uses one of its timeouts.
They certainly do. They've got to stop the clock with only 1 minute 24 seconds left. And you know right now there's going to be 2 more running plays at least in this situation, probably 3, because they won't risk the chance of having the field goal blocked. So they've got 2 opportunities to stop the clock, and they have to use one right now.
Theodis Brown did not get his 100 yards rushing today, basically because Seattle had to play some catch-up here in the second half. But he ran for 87 yards unofficially, and I think he's going to be a great addition to the Seattle Seahawks. They now can establish a decent running game, something they have not been able to do in a couple of years, David.
Well, in fairness to Sherman Smith, he's an excellent football player and has been so every year. But what the Seattle offense did is they spread their linemen out, and that's given them much better holes for those backs to run in. And I think that, in fairness to Sherman, I think he could run with the holes that they produced today, even though Theodis is quite a player.
You're probably right. And the problem with Smith, of course, is that he was hurt last year, underwent knee surgery, played in only 3 games, and so he's coming back from knee surgery, and that's never easy for anybody. And you look at, obviously, an unhappy David Craig on the sideline, trying to rally his team, second-year man, playing before the family and friends in Green Bay, Wisconsin, having attended Milton College in this state. But he'll be back again. What we can't figure out is why he was in there. Unless Patera was simply not happy with the way Zorn was executed.
Well, their offense had bogged down, as you said, Sam, and I think he instilled them in there, trying to give it a little bit of life to his offense. They have not been able to score at will like they have in the past. You know, they're a team that has not been averaging a lot of points in the prior games, as you mentioned.
And in fairness, too, I think probably it should be pointed out that Zorn really only moved the offense to 2 touchdowns today. Despite the fact they have 24 points on the board, they got a defensive touchdown out of John Harris to start the ball game. So, but I'll tell you something, and I see it everywhere I go as the Seahawks use their final timeout. Jim Zorn remains, if not the most exciting quarterback in the game, among them. You got to have a full complement of offensive people to be successful. Quarterback gets too much credit when teams win, and they suffer too much criticism when they lose. That's always been my opinion, David. I don't know how you feel about it, but I know he's a quality person. He's a great kid, and I think he's going to be a great quarterback. And I just think as the offense grows and matures, so will Jim Zorn.
I think you have a great analogy of his playing ability. He's a competitor. I guarantee you he'll work hard this week, and he'll be back next week. There's no doubt about it, because I know the type of person he is. Like I said, I couldn't give you anybody in the NFL that I respect more than Jim Zorn.
That's high praise coming from a defensive lineman. You guys normally don't say anything nice about quarterbacks.
Well, I had a great moment. I played in one of the first games. I was with the Oakland Raiders, and Jimmy Zorn came up to the line and said he was so scared. I said, "Hi, Jim," and he couldn't even take the snap.
Oh, I love it. It is 3rd down and 7 for the Packers, but Seattle's on a timeout. Whitehurst fumbles the ball. Oh, my goodness. They don't make it easy, do they?
If he had fumbled that one, we would have had the fans running down on the field. Watch this. He tries to fake the ball right here to Ellis. He hands the ball. No, it's Jim Jensen, and he actually fumbled the ball, bounced off of Jensen's arm, back into his hands. So it's obviously a Packer day today because he got the right bounce on that one.
So it's 4th down at the 19-yard line. And you had mentioned earlier you wouldn't think Bart Starr would risk a field goal attempt.
Definitely would not risk a field goal attempt. But back to that Zorn story. He came up to the line, and I had known Jim before that. And I said, "How you doing, Jim?" And he said he was so nervous that he couldn't take the snap and say hi, so he didn't say anything. And he came up afterwards and, of course, told me about that.
That is a great story.
But he's a good kid. He really is.
We got a delay of game against Green Bay. They let the 30-second clock expire, and the game clock is down to 45 seconds. So the Packers now... No, they called a timeout, I guess, with just a second or 2 left. So they didn't have to get the delay of game. They called a timeout.
If they kick this field goal, I will be amazed.
Well, they're going to try because Stenerud is on.
I cannot believe it because I don't agree with this play. I will be honest with you.
There are a few things that we have been amazed with today. I guess that's part of the game. So Stenerud, having kicked earlier, a 20-yard field goal, will now attempt one of 37 yards.
I know Stenerud's a great kicker, but I don't agree with this, but that's why I'm up here talking.
Stackowitz puts it down, the kick is up, and it's perfect by Stenerud.
Well, Bart Starr knew what he was doing. How's that?
37-yard field goal, but I understand what you're saying. He risked the block. But while he gambled that, he just ensured victory with that field goal. 34-24 with only 41 seconds to play.
Decisions. We watch the fans are leaving here, but there's a nice welcome sign for us.
We appreciate it.
You know, an interesting thing is, Sam, that both these teams have really played a great football game. As you said, they're 2-6. They're out of the race, but yet they played with a lot of heart today. And I think the fans in Seattle have got to be proud of their Seahawks because they came in here, and as you said, there's nowhere to go.
Well, you know, David, quite honestly, now that they're 3-6, Minnesota's got a tough task at Denver tomorrow. Should Minnesota lose, they go to 5-4. The Packers are back in it, only 2 games out of first place behind the Minnesota Vikings. And in this crazy NFC Central Division, truly anything can happen. And as we pointed out, one year an 8-7-1 record was able to win it. Minnesota won it. I think Green Bay that year was 7-8-1. You know, so if there's any division that can be won with a 500 record, this certainly is it. All right, Stenerud, having put the game on ice, now will kick it, kind of a squib kick, fielded by an up man at the 25-yard line, 35 to the 40-yard line, and returning the football is Don Dufek, number 25, former Michigan star, and 34 seconds is all that remains. David Craig back on now with the offense of Seattle.
Well, I'm glad to see Craig get another opportunity here because he certainly was disheartened, and you don't like to see a player disheartened. He gets his opportunity and threw the interception, but I think it's nice to see him get another opportunity to see if he can complete and again, regain his confidence.
Johns, number 85, has split wide to the right. McCullum in the slot to the left with Largent. And Steve Largent will have his string of 11 straight games with 4 or more completed passes or catches broken here, I believe. We have Largent with 3 catches for 47 yards? 45 yards, so he needs 1 more catch to keep his streak alive of having caught 4 or more passes. 11 is the streak now.
Well, it's just a tough situation for the offensive lineman to be in. It's a defensive lineman's dream because he has to worry about nothing except getting to the quarterback. And the offensive lineman is probably tested more in this position than anyway. It's a definite passing down. You're not going to fool anybody, and they have really got to buckle up. And they've done it today.
Second down. Packers have 2 deep safeties back there to do nothing but play the pass, and look at that. Well, that's inevitable, as you were talking about. You know, when they can pin back their ears and come, give the sack to Ezra Johnson, number 90. 5 sacks on the day for the Green Bay Packers. Seattle cannot stop the clock. 16 seconds. Craig stepping up, dumps one to Sherman Smith to the 40. Trying to get out of bounds, and look at the tackle there. Ball came free, but I believe after he hit the ground. That'll do it. Boy, you and I get the dandies, don't we, Mr. Rowe?
We certainly do. It's an exciting one.